face ever-changing scenes. There's a group that stands out, the Jesus Geeks team. With their seasoned minds and their tech-savvy ways, they navigate the world in the modern-day maze. Jesus Geeks, they're the ones to seek. With their wit and their wisdom, they'll make you think. From politics to gadgets, they've got the scoop. Jesus Geeks, they'll keep you in the loop. Jesus Geeks with their minds so keen, they're the voices of reason in the digital stream. From bytes to bytes, they spread their creed. Jesus Geeks, fulfilling every geeky need. In a world of noise, their calling voice, guiding through the chaos with their informed choice. They'll break it down, make it easy to understand. Jesus Geeks, the pillars of the modern man.
Dude, I swear Geezer Geeks are unreal. They're my go-to. They're killing it.
Geezer Geeks are so great. Really, they are making podcasts great again. I only listen to them. If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
Welcome to the future, everyone. Did you just have a smell, a sense, a tingle of liberty and freedom wave through your body? Did you hear words that resonated with you in a way that you haven't heard in a long time, or maybe even ever, especially now? That was a manifesto of liberty for the online independent content creators of the digital world that we all live in. It was rich with everything. I'm really looking forward to the day that those of us who have recently and over the years been canceled, disabled, suspended, removed, whether it's your profile on Facebook, like I've gone through for the last few weeks, which has been totally bizarre. But I think there's some story behind it, which we may get into tonight. But more importantly, this is the future. This is what the Geezer Geeks have been talking about all year. We called not only the results of the election months in advance, but how it was going to unfold. And actually, we didn't go far enough. We didn't quite get all the way there because what happened was another level beyond what we expected and thought would happen based on the observational neutrality that we used in pattern recognition and trend analysis, and just looked at the energy and said, which way is this stuff going? Who's got the mo? And who's got the feng in their shui? Where is this going? And holy shit, I'm thinking that there is a seismic ripple across the planet. The consciousness of the carbon units have been activated. And it is an amazing time to be in the middle of the activation, be a part of the activation, and watch all the other activations start to come alive. The awareness, the too obvious to obfuscate reality that we are now emerging into. And it is just the feeling of vindication resonates through my being. So, for whatever reason, I needed to get that off of my chest. And now we are about to bring on the rest of our guys tonight. And the Geezer Gents are geared up to gaze not only at what we have seen and watched it manifest and unfold, but more importantly, what's going to happen now. So, as the title of the show says, we saw it coming. Did you? I think I might have some geezers in here somewhere. Where are these geezers? Wait a minute. There's a geezer. Look at that. Gee, what's hanging?
What's going on?
Oh, I'm marinating in the marvelousness.
Well, it's just like a fine steak.
Oh, it's cooked so right. And there seems to be almost an endless supply of it. Speaking of overcooked steaks, look who else we've got here.
Ta-da! Yeah, I was going to comment when you're making your. I mean, it was a very good, piece you did, and I loved Ray. I'm not Reagan, President Trump,
Well,
and he's making some people shit right now. I'm sure.
Oh, the dirty laundry department is
Yeah.
in overtime and understaffed.
Yeah.
I mean, and speaking of overtime and understaffed, look, there's another geezer.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you all having a good weekend.
Man, you sound like a Midwestern already. Look at that.
I'm loving it out here. Granted, we haven't really gone out and checked the city yet because we've just been too busy, but we've been through our neighborhood and we like it. Everybody's friendly as hell. And yeah,
It's
we enjoy it.
It's Midwest nice.
It's been raining for like a week, but I'm down with that. Coming from the desert, it's a nice change.
Hey, wait when you have snow, halfway up to your chin. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, and the thing is, Roger, that the opposites is happening on the other carbon units. The estrogen units have completely turned sideways, and we're going to get into some of that. Let's see, we got in the chat. God, the chat thing is working too.
Yeah, we got Roger Rabbit. I see Claudette. Good to see you, Claudette. JP, my buddy Jack's in the chat. Good to see you, Jack. JHP Studios. Sitting at home with the COVIDs. That sucks. I've seen Polly Rotterman. She was in early. She was number one. She was first.
Hey, Polly.
Yeah. JP saying China's stock market took a big dip. Hamas started wanting Hamas started wanting a ceasefire. Yeah, not only that, I mean, everybody. It's like within a day, and I don't know if how you guys may feel about this, but it seems to me the metaphor is kind of like I remember growing up and we had friends whose kids were just shit all day with mom, and then the favorite phrase was "wait till your dad gets home," and then
He's
and then
arrived.
and then when dad got home, opened that door, all of a sudden the kids started behaving and shit started calming down. I mean, this guy. I'll drop this in and then we can talk about it as we go along here. But if you ever had, well, first of all, we had a mandate in this process that we call yep. So
I
this
didn't know it'd come. I didn't know it'd come right up on screen right away.
There it did. You got it. But my point I was going to make is that we not only got a mandate, a complete cultural slap upside the head for the ideology that's been pushing all the narrative that all of us have been dealing with and putting up with for a decade at least. But the last 4 or 5 years have been very acute, and they've turned the volume and the velocity up, and it's become very annoying and very uncomfortable for everyone. Well, that there was a complete, we talk about the great reset, the great rethink, the great reveal. That was the great repudiation. That was a smack across the head of anyone who thinks that any of that shit made any sense. And it was across the board. So the mandate that was just laid down by the people of the United States in this process we call an election also has historically, it has kind of a there are historical references to kings returning, and in the Eastern philosophies and the I Ching and Taoism, Shintoism even, they have this term. I can't think of how it's exactly phrased, but the meaning of it is mandate of heaven. And it means one who is supposed to be doing what they're doing at that time to lead. I think that's what Mr. T just got big time. I mean, that was so profoundly, are you shitting me? That all of the folks on the other side that have been pushing clearly all of the wrong stuff, who thought they were the majority, just found out they're the minority.
There was
cool
there was the saying that was going around, too big to rig, and it was too big to rig, it seems.
Well, that's why. Go ahead, Jim.
He lost 100% of Mason County, Minnesota, and that's where Tampon Tim is from. It's about 60 miles southwest of the Twin Cities. Nice little town, college town.
Hey, we see Heidi's in the house.
Hey, good looking.
Good show
I got
today,
a map
Heidi.
of the results comparison if you wanted to see it.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff to pop up here. And JP, you're right. Crypto, I mean, everything.
I think crypto went up like 5K, 4 to 5K within like 2 days.
Well, the brain dead guy decided to go, stay in the beach, and his replacement had an IQ of about a 14-watt light bulb.
Well, that's giving him credit.
Yeah, I think that's,
I didn't say it would turn on or had any power or illuminate anything. It was just a light bulb, an individual.
His potential was 13 watts, huh?
Yeah, that is the most pathetic. And she didn't even write a concession letter.
Dude, she can't write. You can't expect somebody to write a letter who can't write. You can't expect somebody to speak who can't speak. You can't expect somebody who can't lead to lead. You can't expect somebody to have a personality when they don't. That's the flawed philosophy of the wishes of this screwed up mentality of this ideological neo-lib, neo-progressive, whatever the fuck it is they decide they category. The categories are fluid, right? I mean, just like all the genders and all the words and everything else, and everything gets all of this nuance. It cannot be any kind of definitive thing that anybody can hold on to. So it slips out of their hands. People wonder, well, how the hell do I hold on to that? And then the people that are watching them lose grip. You're yelling at them saying, you need to grip harder. And you're looking at them going, I think you don't understand that holding a balloon full of water is not something that you grab and hold on to without it breaking. It's just not the way that works. So the ideological slap, this was global. It had to be, we had to be the epicenter. And this is all my observational opinion bullshit. We had to be the epicenter because we were the concentration of of all the contention and of the confusion that's been cooked up and thrown into the craniums of the carbon units. So all of that shit has resulted in what we're seeing, which I think I might as well go ahead and bring up the brain. Shall I bring up the brain, gentlemen? Shall we have a look at some of the stuff with which we can consider and ponder on that happened over this last week? I mean, really. It's kind of rich.
Like we said last year, that the following 18 months are going to be probably the biggest changes period.
It's another. See, that's another one we made. We back in August said, what's it going to be like a year from now? So I'm actually going through. There's so many of them. I didn't have time to get it done for tonight, but I'm going through and clipping all of our predictions, and I'm going to put a nice little prediction packet together and have it all date stamped, so we can just look at it and go, how the hell did you guys see that coming? We sat back and we cast the geezer gaze, and that's what we got. So yeah, you're right, Jim. we called next, and now we got not only the election that we just finished up with, but now we got what's going to happen next. So I've divided the brain up into past, present, and future tonight.
Okay.
So we're going, and there's just a few with each. Hold on one second. Let me do this, and let me get the past. There we go. All right. And we're only going to spend a little time on the past because, I mean, good Lord knows we've seen more shit. So we'll start with this. And this is Don Lemon. You know, what was he? He's the one that got fired. And for some reason, this doesn't log me into my account, so we get a
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I say.
And skip the ad. Thank you very much.
Lulu Garcia-Navarro, can I start with you? I know you just spoke to the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for your podcast, breaking her silence on what happened here. She was, of course, instrumental in pushing Biden to step aside, right? I mean, let's be clear about that. So what's she saying now?
Well, without giving too much away, she talked about the fact that this was a heartbreaking loss. She used that word. She also said that she has spoken to the vice president and that it was a very emotional conversation, that they're friends, and that conversation was difficult for both of them. We had a very wide-ranging and lengthy conversation about what happened, how she sees the path forward, and what her own plans are. And, you know, that will come out soon. But, you know, it is
for it. Van Jones
honestly a very, very difficult moment for the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
Absolutely. Van, so Nancy Pelosi using the word heartbreaking in her conversation with Lulu. Carville talking about a dark tunnel. Blame is starting.
Yep.
And there needs to be discussion among Democrats. So,
well, look, we spent $1 billion and elected Donald Trump. That's not a blame game. That's called accountability. And the people at the top of the campaign, the top of the party, have a lot of people pissed off at him because there were people who had suggestions. There were people who were saying, why are we doing this? Why this? It was like, hey, we've got it. We've got it. We've got it. We've got this special magical computer formulation. We've tested every ad. Shut up and sit down and go back to work. And so people said, okay, well, yeah, I guess you're right. And then we got clobbered, clocked, knocked down, beat up, drugged down. And so people are mad, and they should be mad. And the people at the top are going to have to listen. There is a grassroots rebellion happening in this party, and it's coming to knock on the door of the people who are in charge of the party. That's not blame game. That's accountability.
Accountability. I mean, and I know you're for $1 billion.
$1 billion.
And I believe they technically, blew a few $100 million of that in the recent weeks, Andrew Yang, and now ended up technically maybe in debt. A little bit. They did door knocking. They did traditional ads, but you heard what Van's saying. They weren't listening to other ideas that people maybe like Van had.
For instance.
Yes,
For
well, I
instance.
mean, there should be accountability, and Joe Biden should not have run for a second term. There should have been a competitive primary in January. He should have dropped out in January and not July. And by the way, J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, they should have challenged him in January. We all know that they had campaigns in waiting, but instead everyone said, oh, Joe's going to be fine. Joe's going to be fine. He has a disastrous debate against Donald Trump. Then he drops out in July, and then everything is under the gun and in hurry up mode. The party lost a crucial period where they could have introduced the next generation of leaders to the American people, vetted and chosen a ticket that could have taken the fight to Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden fumbling the ball to Kamala down the stretch.
And Lulu, to this whole conversation, is there any sense from people you're talking to of what role they think it played? That there was a perception, certainly among some voters, that at least Kamala Harris had not been honest with voters about Joe Biden's true state. I mean, this kept coming up again and again. Now people are trying to figure out, well, what happened? Is that something you hear?
I mean, I think that one of the things that happened during this election is that when that disastrous debate with Joe Biden happened, I think there was a break in trust with the Democratic Party and the electorate. There was a feeling that there wasn't actually honesty about the condition of the president.
We can't hear you, Robert.
You're muted.
How many, you think? How many for how long? We're calling this out. What part of all of us yelling at them going, dude, this guy is a corpse? What part of that didn't they hear when we were telling them that?
Because they were going, they weren't going to listen to anything that any normal person would have, even people on their side of the aisle were, expressed concern. But you can't challenge them in the deep state machine
because they can't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this.
I like Daniel. He's one hell of a poker player.
So I'm going to read this out. This is Daniel Negreanu.
Earl of Laurel, I think, pretty much hit it. He said they didn't fumble. They were locked in by their identity politics. They had to give it to Kamala or alienate their black women base, and it didn't work anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this guy, I mean, he laid out, if the folks on the left needed just a quick hit list, he's won
about $40 million playing Texas Hold'em.
Yeah. He says you compromised, you conspired to block Bernie. He goes back to that.
Yeah.
You discarded and defamed Tulsi Gabbard. You didn't invite Musk to a summit on electric vehicles. You blocked Robert Kennedy and others from having any path to make their cause in a primary. You embraced wokeism and identity politics, demonizing the evil, while white cisgender male population, extra scorn for those who have attained financial wealth. You further insult them by telling them that they don't vote for Kamala because they are racist and misogynist. You then anointed the most unpopular VP of all time and tried to gaslight us into thinking she's the next coming because Meg Stallion shook her ass on stage to get out the vote because joy. What exactly did you expect would happen? These are your sins. Will you learn from them or continue to repeat them? America has spoken, and they're not buying what the DNC is selling. Wake up call. I think he kind of nailed it.
Yeah, Caesar. I mean, he's a real smart guy. And
Gee, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's right on. It's the exact same thing we've been talking about this whole time. I mean, they just alienate everybody and anybody except for the few that they're trying to push out. And, you know, like Robert Kennedy, I mean, my gosh, the guy has a legacy with his family on a Democratic Party, and they just ignored him and pushed him aside.
that was the best decision he ever made.
Well,
The thing
you
the
can
thing
tell.
yeah.
Go ahead.
The thing is, they were talking about our young candidates. Their bench consists of Hillary Clinton, what the hell is it? Pocahontas up in New Hampshire, wherever. Kumquat is on her bench, and then Big Mike. Of course, he's too lazy by factor of about 10. And look at us: Tulsi, Robert, Elon.
Well, I think they thought the Hollywood was going to pull in all the younger people, you know, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, all of them.
We don't give a shit what those dumb people. I mean, and they are dumb.
We saw the real-time execution of an extremely flawed and fucked up strategy.
Well, he was right. They should have. Yeah.
And complaining is not a strategy, just so you know.
Well, it is to them.
One of the takes I heard that I thought was funny as shit.
If they would have been smart enough, they would have, like he said, they would have had a primary from the beginning, and it would have been more structured. They probably actually could have had a shot at it, but instead they just kind of let the ball fall, you know.
But that requires paying attention and knowing what and figuring out what the fuck is going on.
Well, they banned us, so that information hasn't gotten out.
So I think one of the takes that I thought was absolutely funny as shit, and I think he's got a point. Scott Adams. He was he covered Obama just a week before the election at some speech, pulling out the fine people, the Charlottesville hoax again, and recycling something that it's the most debunked hoax, the easy ones out there with all the rest of the shit. And that's the other thing. These people that have followed this shit, that are saying the things you're saying, and wait till we get to some of I got a few clips, some of the better stuff that's been going on with these people losing it. They're losing it because they believe something so strongly that isn't true. and
believing it doesn't make it true.
Well, that's been because you say it doesn't make it so. But anyway, so we just saw, Don Lemon, Van Jones just splayed it out, nice, short and sweet. Here's what you did. Started off with the tagline, top of the line. We spent $1 billion to elect Donald Trump. It's like, doesn't get much, whoops, what the hell here?
Hello, Peace Rain. Welcome in.
See your sun. No, I don't. I do not see the sun, Viv. So I must be missing something, or I'm behind. So anyway, so like we're saying, Van Jones called it out. The tweet we just read called it just straight ahead, no bullshit, no hyperbole, just facts. And what do you think that's going to do if you hear somebody say those kinds of things about you? I mean, especially in a public office. Do you think that it might have an effect on how you think and how you feel? Well, Kamala heard all that stuff and she had this to say.
My fellow Americans, we all knew this day was coming, as difficult as it is to accept that I'm one of the most unpopular candidates in history. Even with the entire mainstream media machine backing me and working to get me elected, it appears I have lost the race. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Fox, and everyone else that wasn't on Team Joy. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. You motherfuckers just can't stand to see a strong Black and occasionally Indian woman succeed. How the fuck did I get 15 million less votes than that retard Joe Biden in 2020? And pardon my language, but everyone knows under a second Trump term, we're allowed to say retarded again. So get off my balls. But seriously, how the fuck did Joe get 15 million more votes than me? I'm starting to think maybe we did steal that election in 2020. No way his dusty ass did that much better than me. Shit, I barely got more votes than Hillary Clinton. And we've imported 50 million illegals since 2016. And you know they're all voting for me. As for what's next for me, I'm still in charge of this country until January 20th. You heard that right? Joe doesn't know where the fuck he is half the time. So plan on an action-packed next couple of months. Might even fuck around and invade Canada. Finally, thanks for fucking nothing, America. Made Rachel Maddow and Van Jones cry again. I hope you're all very happy with yourselves.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe and follow.
Oh my God. That was, I mean, at first I thought it was.
Share that link, Robert, in chat. So some people in chat want to check that out.
That was absolutely priceless.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Post Chuck.
Yeah. This should be. Let me know. Somebody can hit that link and let me know if it works.
That was fun. That was just.
That was
priceless.
good.
That was priceless.
Yeah, it worked.
On the first.
That link
I think
is
second
good.
word out of her mouth, I realized, oh, we've been set up.
A couple people popped into chat. Polly Roderman, good to see you again. Peace Rain, I like that name.
Go back home.
And the chat's on it tonight, man. There's some comedy rolling through the chat.
Nice. Well, there should be some levity. There should be some fun. There should be some fucking joy. Because I don't know about all y'all. And we're now gonna move into the present group. But I'm just gonna kind of put this out there now. I'm just gonna lay it out.
Oh, please do.
And it's a framework that I'm very comfortable with making adjustments to. However, kind of goes like this. Back in 2008, when Obumble was elected, there was all that controversy about his identity. Who was this guy? Give me some roots. Give me some paper. Give me a chain of custody, some kind of trail of something. And all that stuff went down about his birth certificate. Finally, because everybody said, where is it? What's going on? They finally put one up on the White House website to shut everybody up. Well, knowing my curiosity and imagination, I wanted to go give it have a peek at it. Look underneath the covers. I pulled it down, I put it into Photoshop, and I swear to God, that thing was made up with at least, I think it was 12 or 13 layers. It was all a phony layered document. And this is what I downloaded it from the White House website.
Well, no one
And
said
there was
no
a
one
whole
ever.
bunch of people
Yeah.
that had already done that analysis. And I said, really? Okay, let me try that. I still have the files. And when I looked at that and all of the shady shit around that character, I said, okay, I didn't want the Dems in anyway. They were already, starting to lean a little in the wrong direction for my taste. And okay, well, let's let it go. Well, for 8 years, I put up with listening to a bunch of bullshit that was complete bullshit, watching everything run and set up for the bullshit that we ended up with. Fortunately, we got a bumper in Trump. Trump kind of stalled that, put it back a little bit. It's like, wait a minute, you can't, we need to go this way. The election in 2016, and so here's my fundamental premise. Our election systems have no accountability, no transparency. They cannot be audited. There is no way, if anybody thinks that any of this stuff is reliable, incredible, then you're smoking better weed than me.
That'd be hard.
That would be hard because I am a 54-year connoisseur, and I am definitely a snob. But my point is this: our systems, there's no way the system's broken. Is one of the themes that we've gone on about. Everything's broken. Well, the election system is completely broken because it's not transparent. And there are levers and little gadgets and things that people can do and manipulate the system if they need to. Here's my hypothesis. I think in 2016, because of this common characteristic of having no concept of strategy or planning or doing any kind of what ifs when you're trying to go build your plan and execute it. They don't have that at all. They don't get looking forward and thinking, what'll happen if? Because that's just not in the way they think. So they didn't see Trump coming. They believed the numbers in the polling systems, which are also unreliable.
They believe their own bullshit.
And full of bullshit. And the whole popular thing caught them by surprise. In 2020, when it came back around, the same mechanisms that were in play but not utilized in 2016 because they didn't see the need, they saw the need. They went and pulled all the fucking stops out. That's where there's all these anomalies with these 100 or 10 million plus some odd, where the fuck did they go numbers? So in 2024, after 4 years of analyzing, looking for the holes, seeing how the cheat was done, everybody went and put eyeballs on it. And they said, we know that this can happen there. And so there was so much watching going on that they couldn't pull the cheat this time. Their system was thwarted by the knowledge of the shit system that it is and all the places that there are to put turds in. So the fact that that's one of the things that I think makes it so fucking brilliant that it wasn't remember the red wave in 2020? What happened to that? Well, it was there. It was just obfuscated. But if you look at 2016, 2020, and 2024, Trump just keeps getting more each time. This time it had built up from the time that the previous one in 2020. And now there was a whole bunch of new motivation for people to go, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. And besides, you guys sound like a bunch of batshit crazy nut jobs, and you need to dial it back a little bit. So does that make sense to any of you guys, or am I just smoking better weed?
Running off in the mouth. Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense. I mean, it just, I look at it, this was it was a doom or boom issue. If our side would have lost, that would be the end of America. And there's no other refuge in the world. And we're probably looking at nuclear exchange. Someone who not China, not Russia, but there's a bunch of other fruitcakes out there that have the bomb. Pakistan is one of them.
Iran.
The Israelis, I knew as far back as 73 that they had at least 10 nukes at that time, and they probably have 200 now, and they had the means to deliver them. Now they have F-35s. I'm sure those nuclear weapons were designed to fit inside the weapons bay, the internal weapons bay of the F-35. You can track them with long-range radar, but not with your acquisition radar. So we live in interesting times, and as God didn't want to see America destroyed, that is a new dawn. I mean, it's the piece from President Trump that you aired at the beginning. That was incredible. I mean, as he's going through the whole thing, I'm almost ready to just get up, jump up and down.
Well, and I almost guarantee, like governments have weapon systems that they're just itching to pull the trigger on. That's above and beyond the capabilities of these other countries, and so I know there's some itchy trigger fingers out there.
The president of Mexico stopped the caravan that was heading towards the border.
Yeah, I seen that today.
Yeah. See, I wonder if maybe they're a little bit gun shy.
Okay, so let's go through some present information. Take a look at that and see how it ties into let's
our
see
famous our favorite Trump supporter, he and Elon.
As we continue to celebrate the total Trump victory, there are literally countless videos of feminists on TikTok and Instagram completely melting down over the situation. And we're going to take a look at just a few more, but not just to mock them, not just to laugh at them and have a good time, although that is part of it, but really because this is a direct window into the mind of the mentally enslaved, of victims of the mainstream media. And they're not just crying about Kamala losing and thinking that Donald Trump's a terrible fascist. Many of them are now plotting some very bizarre activities in response. This lesbian decided that she doesn't want to look like a normal woman anymore, so she's having her partner shave her head in response to Donald Trump being the next president of the United States. I'll spare you having to sit through the entire video, and we can just fast forward to the end for the final results there. This has pushed so many feminists and lesbians over the edge that they're now just openly expressing their hatred of all men, even though, well, I guess the gay ones did vote for Kamala. But there is a term for hatred of men. I can't remember what it is because it's never really been used. But there is an actual word for it. It's the opposite of misogyny, which we hear endlessly about. Now, these women are just openly engaging in hatred of men.
Please enjoy the first 3 minutes of my new movie, Am I Racist?, the #1 documentary of the decade. Take a look.
I just saw a man smiling and I was like, what do you have to smile about? Like, unless you have that like smile disease from the horror movie Smile 1 and 2, like stop smiling.
There's obviously a very serious mental health crisis in America, which was sparked in large part by allowing kids to use social media, which then allowed psychos like Jeffrey Marsh to access them, and big corporations like YouTube and TikTok then promoting these kinds of creatures to then indoctrinate the children with their form of, well, I guess it really is just Satanism to try to destroy their souls.
Do not detransition. Do not stop being publicly gay. Do not dye your hair back to a natural color. Do not take out your piercings. Do not cover up your tattoos. That is what they want you to do. They want all of us to look alike. They want none of us to be gay. They want us all to be normal.
Actually, we do want you to be normal, but we don't want you to hide who you are. So please continue to show us with your fluorescent hair and your piercings, which now seems to be the more subtle version of that. Have you noticed how a large percentage of these lunatics have nose piercings? The blue hair is probably just a little bit too much for them. And that's kind of the LGBT thing. So just the feminists now who hate themselves, who hate beauty, who hate men, are getting the nose rings.
All you're doing when you convert to them is making them feel like they have every right to be rude to those who still want to be out. Because, oh, look at this person. They detransitioned. They used to be gay. Get weirder. Be crazier. They already don't like us. So who cares?
Actually, you people got so weird. Many of the LGB people started denouncing the T, Q, and plus people because they feel that you're giving them a bad name. I mean, what's next? Are therapists going to take the TikTok and break down into tears over what's happening and join their patients by revealing how crazy they are to the world? Oh, wait, what's this?
If you're wondering if it's hard to be a therapist right now, it is. It really is. You know, watching the pain and suffering that's come from this election. And listening to my clients say homophobic things to me.
You treat people?
Not knowing I have a wife is really hard.
And you have a wife?
It's really
I'm
fucking
crying
hard.
too, but these are tears of joy.
And I have to validate them. I can't say anything.
Perhaps the most hilarious meltdown of all is this one.
fucking
Trust
priceless.
me, just wait till the end.
Donald Trump won, and I am very, very afraid that he might deport my mother-in-law. She entered illegally to the country, and she lives in a street 4, number 47 apartment. I am very, very concerned. That's right behind the green apartment. The gate is always open. You don't have any dogs.
The best part is many of these people are now saying that they're going to do everything they can to avoid us.
The first question I'm asking everybody in my life from this moment forward, who did you vote for? If I get anything aside from Kamala, get the in my face. I am done, honestly. It costs me $0 to cut people off. And in this economy, I'm taking all the free shit I can get.
Notice she has a nose ring and a hideous face piercing. And I'm sorry to tell you, lady, but you're not going to get much free stuff for any longer because the Democrat Party has been fired.
I had no idea 70% of y'all were feeling that way. So I was on TikTok all day
That's part of your problem.
and saw that.
Yeah, for real.
Did you hear about the blue bracelet thing? This is the third video that I've seen talking about it. And they're saying that they're going to start wearing blue bracelets to signal to other women that they are Democrats, that they did not vote for Donald Trump. But instead of just a theory, instead of just talking about it to their cameras and crying in their bedrooms, it appears that they're actually doing it.
And I thought, okay, I've got beads. I can make some. My daughter's like, I want one. So I was making bracelets last night. And I ran out of string. And
Just wait for it.
I don't even want to be in a store right now because people are walking around like everything's normal. And I'm like,
everything's great.
Are we in the same universe?
Nope. You're in the Twilight
And
Zone.
I'm really uncomfortable. I don't want to be around it. So anyways, I went to the craft store and I go to the bead section to buy some string and maybe a few more blue beads. And I see another young woman there buying blue beads. And I just looked at her and I said, are you making bracelets? She said, yeah. And I said, me too. And she started crying, and so did I. And she's like, I just came from therapy. I'm not okay. And I was like, I just got in a fight with my best friend over Project 2025. I'm also not okay. And she's like, can I hug you? And I said, yeah. So I'm just hugging this stranger and in Joanne Fabrics because we're just two white women who just wanted people to know, not me. It wasn't me.
Yes, thank you. And in case you haven't heard, you can save 20% off any of my shirts at markdice.com this whole weekend.
That was good.
So, what do we always talk about on the Geeks, right? You got to survey the landscape. You got to check the data, see what's in there, and analyze it and try to figure out how you can adapt or adopt it, whatever it might be. But you got to work with it so that you can navigate either with it or around it. And this is some shit to navigate around, in my humble opinion. Maybe not so humble. Now,
Is there anything humble about him?
what's that?
I said, is there anything humble about you?
No. Well,
I didn't think so. It's just like me.
I didn't get that gene. And I'm burdened by that. So that's what we're seeing from these people that have adopted this mental parasite, that are going through these gyrations and gymnastics within their minds, trying to place all these weird thoughts into some kind of semblance of order. And it can't, because it's all diametrically opposed and fucked up and all that. So fortunately, people are seeing it, just like we saw with Van Jones. Mark Dice always does a great job putting together compilations. And the thing is that every once in a while, when you see the leak, when you see the breach in the dam, it's hilarious, especially.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that more than I could tell you. That is the right attitude. We're still going to have fun. Okay, you know what? We had it. Please, we had an election. A lot of you can sit down. That's how upset this guy is. He's not going to sit again. A lot of people are freaking. You know what? I opened the window today. The sun was still shining. The birds were still singing. My gardener was packing for Mexico. That's different. Well, you know, hey, I did not vote for the winner. We'll see what the winners do now. They won. Now they have reality they have to deal with. You know, we'll see what they do. See if they live up to their word. Trump says he's going to deport 12 million people. How are you going to get 12 million people back into Mexico? And today Trump said, I'm way ahead of you. Why do you think I left so many holes in the wall? Yeah, so, well, look. You know what? We're going to hear about both tonight on the panel and throughout the whole show, the winners, the losers. My message to the losers, look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe you should. Sorry. Well, that's my feeling. Losers look in the mirror, okay? You know, yeah. I mean, for months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right. It wasn't. They could not conceive of a second Trump term, but they should have. When does America ever turn down second? I mean, come on. Look, these are just the facts. These are just the facts. Trump won all the swings, all 7. I mean, he ran the table. Trump won so big. Today he called the Secretary of State in Georgia, and he asked him to lose him 11,000. But, you know, he has an amazing coalition. He kept the old crowd that likes him. He got a lot of new voters. He got a lot of people who say they just want to see what he'll do. I call this the get the cat high vote. But, I mean, he did better like in every demographic. The exit poll said he grabbed 52% of white women. He also got their votes. Yeah. We're going to keep doing jokes here, okay? Right? Both sides, right to the end. And you know what? I think that will be okay with them. We'll test that, but I think it will.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I keep moving my mouse from where I thought it was, and I thought I clicked it. Yes. So do you guys see this trend of the cracks in the craniums and the stuff falling out and new stuff going in? Or is it just my hopeful nature of wanting to have unity and peace and harmony and all of that stuff, for the benefit of mankind? Or am I
I'm
just
not
smoking
seeing
stuff?
it.
Or are these people starting to get it?
I'm not seeing it out in the wild. I mean, when we go out, I don't see these nut jobs acting out or doing all this stuff. But on social media, I see their videos and stuff. But it's not overwhelming. I don't think it's a majority of the videos. I just think it's a few people trying to get likes and acting all crazy for the views. And
Yep.
It was a little
I'm
bit
seeing
more
that.
than a normal weekend in Chicago. There was some riots of sort in LA. I don't know if that was just a carryover from the Dodgers winning the World Series. And that's really about it. I think
Yeah, we went
everybody-
to we went to Target today and it was packed. I mean, there was tons of
Yeah.
people there, and like everybody seemed normal. It was like Christmas shopping season or something. I was like, what the hell's going on? Why is everybody here at 2:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah, what is this?
But people were happy. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, you can't get into Facebook. You're banned. Those are all Starlinks.
There's an alarm going off in someone's office right now.
yeah, how did he get back in?
Yeah.
That looks like Skynet.
Oh God, where's Terminator?
It's the future.
Oh, God forbid.
Well, at a minimum, it is going to be the architecture or the infrastructure with the architecture within it that we're all going to be using.
I hope they're EMP
It
hardened.
is. In fact, I think I'm going to do a new shirt for Mindwear, and it's going to be "We are inevitable," because that's what's happened, I think. But this technology, and I've got a couple of more things on when we get into the future section that I think point in the direction that we've been talking about as manifesting now. But this is one of them. I put this in the present category because this is what Elon's deployed right now. And I think this is maybe a half of the total plan, somewhere in that range. So it's going to double.
Whoa.
That means coverage is going to be everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. There's not going to be any more of this. You're out in the boonies somewhere. You're going to get a signal.
Well,
And
the
people
North
are
Pole-
already
North-
have the mobile Starlink, and they are loving it.
Yeah, the mobile Starlinks are only like $400 or $500 for the actual, and it's about the size of a laptop.
And you've seen the generations of the Raptor engine, the rocket engine, how it went from this giant thing and went about same power but half the size and a third of the parts. That's what he's going to continue to do with Starlink, in my opinion. We're going to keep seeing the tech rollout, especially now, because the foot just got taken off the brakes, in my opinion.
When I had the tour of SpaceX, as you walked, going from security into the plant proper, it's narrow, but it's really high. And I look up, and it's a Starlink. It's 4 by 8, about 8 inches thick, and the solar array goes out probably 30 feet, maybe farther. But that was above me as you walked in there. And then as you go around where the cafeteria is, there's a leg out of a Falcon 9, the landing leg. It is huge. I have a picture of me standing in front of it there after the tour. But that thing is huge. And one of them, they finally retired. It was, I think it was 20 or 21 flights. They got their money's worth. He's incredible. Everything. I mean, I can't wait for him to say, "You're fired." You're not only fired, you're going to prison.
That stuff is just epic on another level. And that's one of the things that's extremely, I mean, if you can remove or at least set aside all of the biases and the packaging that people do from their own personal perspective of peccadillos and preferences that they haven't even examined. Self-examination is not a part of the model these people use to navigate reality. It's just not. It's not in the formula. It's not in the calc, and it's certainly not in the execution of the mechanism, because that's the thing that has been one of the most profound examples on display, in my opinion, is the abject, aggressive display of inept incompetence and complete stupidity, bordering on a lot of it on just plain idiocy, which is different than stupidity. You can be stupid and do stuff because you don't know what you're doing. Idiocy is knowing that you shouldn't be doing it and you're still doing it. That's in my opinion. But it's on full display. We are seeing it in spades, bucket loads, truckloads. We used to be dancing around dumpster fires, and we're now dancing around Trumpster fires. Thank you very much.
Well, and I feel like just in general, we've just in the last 6 months seen a huge spur of technology just seem to get better all of a sudden.
What President Trump says one of the first things he's going to have done is to make public all of the incredible inventions that would make life real easy for everybody, that they've been classified and no one has access to them except for the special people. Well, who in the fuck are the special people? If it isn't the taxpayers who are funding your ass.
They're special because they've defined and declared themselves as such. It's like, wait a minute, I woke up this morning and I felt special, so I'm feeling kind of special. But speaking of special, another thing that's going on right now that I want to kind of slide. This is still in the present, but this is another aspect and then look at what's going on from the data set that's available, and that is that we are right now in astrology and astronomy, but which is where astrology comes from, astronomy. There is a 240-year orbit of Pluto, and there are marked events that have been identified by the delineation of Pluto's progression through its orbit that have been consistent, demonstrable, and you go, okay, well, apparently when this planet comes around at this point and is in these zodiac signs, shit like this happens. There's a tendency, it's just like Mercury retrograde, which tends to mess with tech and communications and just odd stuff. That is an energy that exists. Otherwise, it wouldn't have a name. It's not something that somebody made up. They may have amplified it and given it all kinds of extra goo, but the core thing is that there are energetic things that happen. So there's a name given. We, gentlemen and ladies, and everyone listening to this, we are right now going through the next Pluto return, and there's a significance to this. Pluto's been in Capricorn, which is another energy, has its own energy signatures and characteristics, which are more, they don't have as much fluidity. There's more friction in it. Pluto's about to move into Aquarius on the 19th of this month. 248 years ago was when our country was founded by a revolution. 2 years from now is the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America. There was a revolution back then that caused what we have today. And I'm just going to put it out there. What we saw in this election process and everything that led up to it, the whole 4-year period, but more specifically the last year, everything led up to an American revolution. That map, G, do you have that map of the counties?
I have a couple different maps.
If you got the one of the counties that shows the red and the blue counties, that was it. And knowing, again, as I said before, the election system is not credible, but it's credible enough that if it's not screwed with, you can actually get something that resembles probably what it's like.
It won't let me share with your screen up.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. So this map is important because it shows the preference, the leaning, however anybody wants to define it.
This is the one with the difference between blue cities and the rest of the state in U.S.
Yep. And unfortunately, my county is blue.
And then let's see the other one. I don't think I loaded up the other ones.
Yeah, I got one. I got one here. This one, Jack, before he left, he messaged this to me. Where is it? All right here. This one shows like the blue states, but then if you break it down into actual counties.
That's the one that shows the blue states that didn't have voter ID that she won.
My wheel doesn't
Yeah,
want to
that was
work.
the other thing. It's interesting that the ones that went blue didn't have, or primarily didn't have any voter ID. And you go, well, why would you want that? What is the logic, the reason. There's no other reason other than you don't want it there. You don't want that in place because it will inhibit the fraud, not the validity of the vote. So let me just finish up with this Pluto return. I find it very coinky dinky that 250 years ago was the revolution that founded this country, and 250, 48, 50 years later, we are going through, I think we just went through a revolution.
Oh,
And I think it was a...
The left is butt hurt.
It did what?
Their butt hurt.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The left. I mean, everything. Like what's his face? Bill Maher said on the clip. Look in the mirror. You want to find out what the problem is. Look in the mirror. And thank God it was our destiny to survive that.
Yep. I agree with Claudette. We're going back to the future where we should have been a century ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Amen. Amen. I'm on that.
Is
Earl
Heidi,
says,
is
"I've
Heidi in the
been
queue
in this
anywhere?
bottle of gin and you're losing me, brother." Oh, well, you just haven't drank enough, Earl. Slowing down, man. Pick it up.
I
Pick it
have
up.
I have a picture of a Star Wars reference. Let's see.
Yep. That is, and the thing is, that is a perfect example of the relevance, the power, and of humor, the relevance and power of humor. Because the juxtaposition with the theme that is, from something else, and knowing the image, what's in the imagery, you just go, well, yeah. I mean, did whoever scripted that Dark Brandon thing and dropped the red when he did that whole speech stuff? Holy shit. Those people, I think, because I've been in marketing for 40 plus years, I think these people, in spite of their complete failure to be able to do anything that was effective, they will get great paying jobs. Whoever put that shit together is probably already, if they haven't got the resume out, they're already interviewing. Did you hear? I don't have this clip, but somebody, one of the, I think it was a Secret Service detail or one of the aides, had met Walls as he was getting off the plane, and asked him, and it was the day of the night of the election, the afternoon, I think. And Walls said, the guy asked him, "So, how are you and Miss Harris feeling, Vice President Harris feeling about it?" And he said, "Well, I haven't talked to her in a week."
Holy shit.
I mean, come on. Yeah, Earl, me too. I'm a Southern California 60s and 70s raised Californian, original, native. And yeah, the Republicans back then were doing all that Christian shit. I did the Christian shit. I had a Christian music ministry. I used to go around and In a Pentecostal model, I was beating people over the head with that book and telling them, if you don't listen to what
Repent, you
I'm telling you, you're
motherfucker.
gonna not be happy. So yeah,
Did you see the Biden's going to vote?
when
What's up with the red, man?
She had to vote. She had to vote for someone who she knew was going to win.
Why don't they blame her? She jinxed it.
it's the kind of stuff that makes you go, are you signaling, or are you on purpose, or by accident?
Well, was that I mean, it could have been just a fashion choice, but it could have also been like, okay, kick us out, will you? Take this.
As you know, as soon as they institute, going back to what Trump said, the Section 230 of whatever it is, which means guys at Facebook cannot, and under the new regime called President Trump and his administration, won't be able to censor us.
Well, staying in the present, but now segueing into the future by reaching into the past. Have you guys heard about the Hopi prophecy?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Well, have a listen to this and tell me what you think.
But who are those people that's going to purify this land? How are they going to do it? So they explain things. I was wondering about who are those people that's going to purify this land? How are they going to do it? So they explained to me, we have a gourd rattle that we still use in our ceremony. And that gourd rattle represents the world. On one side, this figure is on the drawing. And another one is on this side. That'll be a gourd rattle. We still use them. The one old man told me, take a look. Whoever have this symbol in this world, going to shake us up 2 times. And it just came to me quickly. And I wondered, what nation have someone something similar to this one? Because they will be very intelligent people. They're going to produce many inventions of all time. They're going to be so powerful that they're going to use that to shake us up real hard. And they're going to almost destroy themselves. But later, out of it, a new generation is going to rise. This time they will know what to do in the right manner, for right purpose. Then around it, there's a sun symbol. Those people are very intelligent people that have that symbol. They have produced many things, invented many things, and they become powerful. And they also shake us up 2 times, second time, with the help of another. These 2 have shook us up 2 times real hard, warning us. And they almost destroy themselves. But out of it, a new generation is coming, stronger, much better equipment, everything, powerful things going to be developed by these 2 people. Then the third one that will finally bring about purification of this land in this continent would be a man with red cap, red hat, or red cloak.
What?
Now, we do not know who that nation is or what people, but they say those people will have a large population, and they will also have much scientific inventions of all types. Very powerful nation going to be. So once you start moving, these others 2 will join him with all their power and might. The 3 of them going to come here quickly together, and nothing can stop them. This time they're going to come right here. They say even they're going to come here so fast they come here for breakfast. Now this is nice clear day today, calm, everything nice. Tomorrow morning maybe we get up at breakfast time then the whole sky will be darkened. Old man said, I don't know what will cause the darkening of the sky. Then he said the people will be raining from the sky. And in one day, they're going to get control of this whole continent. And they're going to cut us up into 4 sections. And they're going to look for a leader that still remains, a native leader still remaining to the spiritual path. And to him, they will gather people here to him. And they will say, now these people, I gave them the religion and the duty to produce things, to invent things, and to become powerful people. When they came here, what have they been doing to you? Now, suppose he was the last chief still remaining in this area. They will ask him, and they will say, well, those people have destroyed my people. They have taken care of and taken everything from my people, land, rivers, and hunting rights, and everything that I used. They just took it away from me against my opposition. Then those that have done that, what we call purification, would be the real wicked people. People who have taken advantage of them in that manner. These figures had no heads on them. That will be their supreme punishment. Because right in daylight, right in public, they're going to weed out those bad people and they're going to chop their heads off, they said. And that is what they said will happen. That's first punishment. Then they say, what about these people here? And he will look at them and said, well, at least they make an attempt to help us. They did try to do something to help us, protect us. And they will pull out all those people. They will know you can't get away. They said they'll have some means of catching you. And they will bring those people. There'll be a lot of those people. Then they will say, look, you have disturbed this land, life, these people. You have polluted their rivers and land and everything. Now you go and clean it up. And whoever survives out of that will be able to stay with the leader here. Then they say, what about these people? These people have really suffered, been persecuted and laughed at. They've been punished and they've been beat up also because they really stood by me. And they will pull out those people and they will be brought to him and they will be respected. That is what they said will happen at this period by the people that has this symbol and man with red cap and red cloak. They will come from each direction, from sun, where the sun rises. And they will come here quickly. And they will have something to paralyze all man-made machinery. Everything come to a standstill. All power will go out. All man-made machinery come to a standstill. And we will be helpless when they just come and take it over. And this is what they will happen to by those people that are coming from each direction. Now, if those people are commissioned by the Great Spirit to do that for the Great Spirit, if we can't clean it ourselves here, and if they fail, then the Great Spirit said there are another people coming from west direction. They'll be coming here for a long time. They're just taking this time. Slowly they're coming and building up more power, more people, more invention, and all that, and they just kept coming. If these people doesn't come here to purify this for the Great Spirit, then this one will come. And they said, when that happened, don't get them on the housetop and watch, because those people are coming from the west direction. There'll be millions of people coming up on the west coast, like ants crawling up on the land. And they will have no mercy for anyone. They'll be very cruel and severe. They're not going to ask questions. They're just going to whip everything as they come. They're going looking for someone that will hold on to the spiritual path here. They're going to do that. This is what they said is going to happen. So these two purifiers on both sides are coming to this continent here where we started from, and we came back. We just about to destroy ourselves, mess it up. We can't straighten ourselves up. Then these purifiers will have to do it. This is what they said will happen here. So whoever comes out, then we will meet the Great Spirit. But if not, if no one listens, then these elders, religious men, will go down into the kiva, go through a ceremony, then they go over a prayer to four corners of this earth, to the above and to the below, and said, all right, none of these, my children, my people have listened to me or helped me. Now you take over. That's when the cloud will rise like this. Lightning will strike 2 or 3 times all over this land. Like the old people said, if you have light power line in your house now, that power is going to run in and just blow up everything in there. And everything is going to happen when that lightning strikes. And so that's why some of these traditional people don't want power line into their village yet. They don't want to put it in their home. And then they also don't want running water inside of the house because that's going to be so polluted one of these days. And that's going to be affected in some way when white man or whoever has the power, like the goat full of ashes, which you now we interpret to be hydrogen bomb or atom bomb or whatever bomb they have now invented, so powerful that once that hit someplace, it's going to pollute everything. So these are the things that I explain clearly, and I can't really go into all that detail, but it brings up to date what we're facing today. I've seen many things happening along this line now that it's being fulfilled. So they told us, go as far as you can to explain some of these to as many people, because there is still a faith by our elders that someday our white brother somewhere or somebody's going to realize it or hear it and understand it, and they're going to search and they're going to find out this is true. They're going to start going around to try and correct this before the purifiers come.
So, thoughts, gentlemen?
We're screwed no matter what.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get that out of that. Sounded to me like some guy in a red hat with some kind of shit was coming to go fix stuff.
I mean, that could be the Chinese.
And they were ordained. The
Yeah.
Chinese.
Well, I mean, the Red Army. The real
Are
Chinese.
you some kind of like futurist doomsday kind of mode, or do you really think, I mean, seriously guys, let's just throw this nugget on the table, because since none of you picked up that last turd, I mean, you know where to find the clean ends of turds. Nobody picked it up. So now I'm gonna throw it out there and demand somebody pick up the turd.
Wow.
Here's the turd. I think that we are at a place in the progress and the process of humanity. I'm not going to say evolution or any of that. We're in the process of the progress of the human experience, where there may have been some semblances of the mass of carbon units and the collective experience they had in the past, maybe even an iteration or two. But it seems unlikely that, from what we know at least, that there's never been this many carbon units so connected at one time on the planet. That energy that is required for the individual frequency stamps that make up all the individual carbon units, for all of them to have a shared reality, for all of us to do what we're doing. It's never been this powerful. It's never been this connected. There's never been this much of it.
Well, there was probably the equivalent of what we're experiencing today back in 75, 76.
Well, yeah, well, I would agree, but disagree. I would agree in this way. And that was why I brought up the Pluto return. The energy of that time is the same energy that's going on now.
Yeah.
In fact, yes. In fact, it's a nice segue into my next share and tell. because I think that the energy, when you think about the energy that was happening back in 1776, how much do you know of the personalities that were involved? The Ben Franklins, the Jeffersons, the Washingtons, the Adams, the Madisons. I mean, we hear those names, we know of some of their works and some of their stuff, but there is a
But today, Sam, they were all kids.
well, that too, right?
Well, I know
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin was a womanizer,
Well,
not just
not only
a
a
smart
womanizer.
guy.
He,
Not
he was
only a
in some kind of
womanizer,
secret
but
society that went to France.
Hmm.
there was a whole these people back then, they were Masons. They were of the Masonic order. They had their own stuff, just like they do now. But when you look at the all of the documents, all of the writings, Madison, Adams, Jefferson, Franklin, Washington, Hamilton, Paine, these people were instrumental in forming what we are using today. And we just saw, in my opinion, one of the best examples of it actually working the way it's supposed to last Tuesday. In spite of all the
And-
flaws, knowing it's not credible, it's not auditable, but it was enough, it worked well enough to convince enough people that it was too obvious to obfuscate. Meaning you can't, what do you want to question about it? A clean sweep? What part of that would you like to question, and why?
And they have no ammunition now.
Right?
They have no ammunition, saying it was fake or whatever. Now they'll just have their typical lawfare in the next 60 days.
They're not going to. Somebody I've jumped on, and I'll be honest. I did marinate for a couple of days. When I woke up the next morning and realized, after we did our geezer gloat Tuesday night, and I realized not only was it real, because I had to wake up and go, was that a dream? Was that kind of like, did I just step into another dimension and go, all my biases projected and manifested this thing that I wanted? Or was it real? And I
It was
woke
a
up and I went,
memory.
shit, it was not only real, but it looks like it's getting even realer. There's more realer going on there. Every hour as the next 2 days, and I just sat around and marinated going, wait a minute. This is exactly what we said was going to happen. How in the fuck is that happening? And everybody's watching it. Everybody's seeing it. Everybody's going, this isn't just me and my little, cocked up world of, I think reality should look this way. No, the shared reality had the same ripple. A lot of different reactions, things bouncing off of it in odd ways, some harmonious, some not. But for the most part, everybody saw the same shit. It went, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But we did.
Yeah.
We saw this coming and we called it, but the only thing that we missed was the intensity of it, the completeness of it. I thought it was going to be the catalyst for the golden age, the soaring 20s, as I called it back in 2019. We're going into the soaring 20s. No, sorry, we got these asshats that got to pull this shit, and we have to go through this. And yeah, you're not going to like it. It's going to be painful and messy, but it's necessary, because if we don't let them expose themselves and fall apart on their own, it's going to be a lot harder to persuade people that these people are idiots. How about we let everybody see that they're idiots? And then it'll be real easy to move it out of the way. And when I realized that, I went, oh, really? So it does have an ending that's going to be in a complete way. How does that look without any kinetic experience or activities? Oh, this thing called the election, and I got to tell you, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to play that Trump piece at the beginning. the liberation of the independent content creator, the privacy rights, the freedom rights, the speech rights, the identity, the identification of them as being primary. They are prime directive. Trump laid that out in a way that was, I don't know about you guys, I did get moved when I watched him and heard him say that, but it was moved in a fuck yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Somebody, and he said everything exactly the way it needed to be. Whether it happens or not, that's to be seen, of course. But at least it was said. At least it was put out there. So back to my other point about correlate, bridging the past, the present, and the future. In the past, the 1776, the Pluto return, these 248, 50 years, and 2026 will be 250. That's a numerical cycle that runs in the cycle realms and all the metrics that have regularity. And the interesting thing about it takes Pluto that long to go around from one point and come back and meet it again.
Oh, it's way the fuck
The
up
orbit,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Well, the last time it was doing what it's doing now, that's when we had an American Revolution. Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm stretching this, but I think we just had another American Revolution, and it was handled in the digital realm. And it was the digital media, the independent content creators, the platforms that were outside of, completely removed and independent from the traditional legacy Mockingbird media, as we've called them before.
They're now dead. They just don't
They
know
are
it yet.
That was another part of the shock, in my opinion, completely collapsed. But let me stay on this and bring up this piece here. Back at 1776, there was these characters, Adams, Johnson. I was thinking Jeremiah
John Paul
Johnson.
and Ringo.
And all
Jefferson,
the
Adams.
Ben Franklin, Washington, all the guys we mentioned. And they were instrumental in creating the system that we used this week to maintain the system. Are there any parallels to the individuals then and the individuals now? Well, consider
Franklin and Elon.
Well, consider this little ditty. Oh, wrong one. Where am I at?
You got to remember everything
There we
that
go.
Thomas Jefferson invented.
Have a listen to this. See what you think.
Lost its energy. All right, here's some fun for you. I saw a post today from a user named Picola. I don't know who Picola is, but on the X platform, and mapped some of our characters who are in the news lately into the founders. So he called it founding/refounding fathers, although it's not all fathers. There's some mothers on here, or some women, not necessarily mothers. So he says you would map George Washington would be Trump. You all see that one, right? That one's easy. If you were going to map our current players onto the founders, George Washington, Trump, that's easy. But here are the others. See what you think. Alexander Hamilton, J.D. Vance. Now, wasn't Alexander Hamilton famous for being brilliant and unusually young?
Yeah.
Right? Like Hamilton was doing stuff when he was like 18, changing the world at like 18 or something. So yeah, J.D. Vance, unusually smart and younger than what we're used to. So yeah, Alexander Hamilton, got it. Thomas Jefferson, Vivek, totally. Yeah, Vivek and Thomas Jefferson, you all see it. He's multi-skilled. His communication abilities are virtually unparalleled, but certainly he has founder level persuasion, communication, intelligence, grasp of various fields. That one fits. All right, how about this one? Well, this is not really a founder, but in order to make things work, Thomas Edison as Elon Musk. I think I preferred Ben Franklin for the Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
But Thomas Edison makes sense. I mean, greatest inventor. So I see that. James Madison, Ron Paul. I guess I don't know enough about James Madison or Ron Paul to know how that lines up, but maybe you do. Does that make sense? James Madison is Ron Paul? I don't know. Abigail Adams, Nicole Shanahan. I think that one's a little unfair because we're just trying to figure out a way to, to make the genders work, because there were more men, in 1776.
Nicole Shanahan is
but
a
I
badass.
think Nicole needs some larger, I don't know, credit or mention or association. Abigail Adams, by the way, was, although she was the spouse of John Adams, if I have my history right, I think she was very influential, wasn't she?
Yep.
So maybe that's not a terrible. I think I would just promote her higher than spouse of a founder. Yeah, I think her impact is founder level, not spouse of founder level. Patrick Henry, RFK Jr. Patrick Henry, RFK Jr. I don't know. I have to think about that one. Good fit. George Mason, Tulsi Gabbard. Again, the gender part is weird, and I don't know exactly what George Mason did, but of course we want Tulsi on the list. And then he says, "What about a few others?" And he said a few other ideas. Samuel Adams, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is Sam Adams. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. John Hancock, Bill Ackman. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Yep.
Bill Ackman, John Hancock. And here's a fun one. Benjamin Franklin, Naval Ravikant, Ben Franklin. Now, I would have made that Elon, but it's good to have Naval in there. And then he's got Joe Rogan as Governor Morris, who my history knowledge is not sufficient to know if that would make sense. And then he's got Thomas Paine, and he's got me.
This is what 5 pounds of body fat looks like. Want to lose this and more? Keep watching. Have you seen this guy? The one that says stop.
I'll figure that out.
Do I map
sorry.
to Thomas Paine, who wrote the publication Common Sense? And he was the most published person in maybe the history of the United States. If you look at the number of copies of his publication Common Sense, as a percentage of the total number of people who lived in America at the time, it was the greatest publishing success of all time. Thomas Paine. And here's an interesting fact. Thomas Paine died on my birthday, June 8th. Isn't that weird? Died on my birthday. If he had been born on my birthday, it'd be weirder.
Yeah.
And then Piccola has, for John Adams, he's got V.D. Hansen, Victor Davis Hansen. Victor Davis Hansen for John Adams? Maybe. Maybe. Here's my fun recreational hypothesis. It goes like this. There is a certain energy that is needed for certain times. And America is one of those places that does look like destiny has shaped it. Now, I'm sure Rome thought that before Rome fell apart, and Mongol hordes probably thought that too. But there's something very destiny-like about America. And I've always been amazed that the dozen or so founders who were really the superpower ones, that they were all here at the same time when there weren't many people here. Like, how could it be that the tiny nation of America, when it was just, before it was formed, that could have such superstars in the same place? It was like the Beatles times 3. And then you look at the current times, and I ask the same question. How could we have a Trump and an Elon Musk and a, David Sachs and a Bill Ackman and a Tulsi and a Vivek and a RFK Jr. and, I could go on. Naval wants to get in there if possible. How is it possible that we have again, these characters. It's almost as if there's an energy that stays dormant until needed. And then the energy comes out through people, but it picks its own host. Do you know what I mean? Now, again, this is a recreational belief. I don't want to go too far into woo-woo, weird spiritual stuff.
But you're
But
already there.
in 1776, there was a certain energy that was needed, and then it came out through a certain number of characters who were exceptional. At this moment in America's history, we're completely off the rails, and the same energy was needed. But why is it that the vessels for that energy so mapped to 1776? Is it just my confirmation bias? Just my imagination? It just feels like fate works through people who can handle it. Do you know what's true about all the people in 1776 who were, the leaders of the revolution? Every one of them was going to get hanged if they didn't succeed. Do you know what's true of this group of people, from RFK Jr. to Trump to Elon Musk? They were all in a lot of trouble if they didn't succeed. The level of bravery in the founders, and then the level of bravery in the refounders, all of them, if I don't mention any of the names, just imagine that they're in there. It's like fate only operates through the brave. Because if you're not brave, you can't see the future, and you can't imagine surviving it. You need brilliant, brave, patriotic people. And boy, did we get lucky, because we have exactly the right people. It's kind of crazy. By the way, there's at least one more founder level entrant that I can't tell you about yet, but there's somebody else who's at least up for working with the administration, that when you hear the name, you're going to go, oh, fuck, that makes so much sense. And I hope I can tell you about it soon. But there's another corner of the country that needs to get fixed, and the exact right person is looking to be that person. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. When you find out, you go, oh, shoot, this really is the golden age.
Well, gentlemen, what's your thoughts?
They got quite the team together. The Avengers is right.
I mean, they're saying something about our up and coming Democrat, potential candidates for office. Their bench is empty, or there's some rotten corpse over there, still breathing, but they just old and smelly. No one wants to go near them. And then you look at our bunch. Other than Vivek was born here, or our parents are immigrants, but he was born here.
Vivek, yeah, he was born here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then he can run. Elon can't. I'm talking about president.
Yeah.
I don't. But
yeah, because he's
Elon
naturalized.
Elon would just hire the right people to take out the opposition. But no, I just.
So, do you see the map? Is the map mapping for you that I'm talking about with the Pluto return and these people and the I mean, Scott just called it out. There seems to be an energy that just kind of lays dormant until it's time for it to come out. and how is it that there are these groups, individuals that become grouped that are extraordinary, and they're right, and they're exactly what's needed at the time that they show up.
Right.
Gee, what do you think?
I think it's amazing that not only do we have the correlation between the right people and the right time, as far as 1776 and today, but we also have the founding fathers that were all patriots, smart, educated and they knew how to use their technology at the time, and they had a grassroots movement. And guess what we had this time? We had the right people in the right time. We had people that were smart, educated, know how to use the technology. We had a grassroots movement, and we're going to have the biggest celebration after our I'm going to say they had the shot heard around the world, and we had the vote that was heard around the world. And we're going to have the biggest celebration in Iowa, Clay's new state, and it's going to be on the epic of a world fair for the celebration and freedom of the U.S.
Did you, and this, I'm sorry, ladies, but dude, did you get a Woody when you heard that? I mean, come on. It was a World's Fair bringing it back. I just went, oh, okay. I'm there. Right?
Yep.
Clay, what do you think?
I think that every so often you get a group of people together that just do amazing things. And I think that's the group that we got together this time. Just like back in 1776.
No, I'm talking about the election, not us on the show tonight. What do you think about is Trump got the goods? Has he got the brain trust going on?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think even like back in 1776, they had all of them people at the right place at the right time to do what they did back then. I think that time just happened again. I think Trump had the right people, and this is the right time.
I agree. I mean, it's just the stars have lined up, the planets are lining up. There's a lot of truth to some of the stuff. I mean, the stuff in the zodiac. I used to get the paper every morning and look see what I was how my day was gonna go.
Oh yeah.
But that was about the extent of it. But I think there's a newfound optimism out there that wasn't there before, and it is the energy. I mean, this energy that we're sharing right here. This is what has drawn the four of us plus that what is it? Oh yeah, that fucking Aussie, from
well, that
Perth.
dude down there that he
Yeah.
can't find the finger to put into the socket to get connected.
Yeah, well, but the guests we have on, and I love the research that you do, Robert. I think we're all coming. We have a ton of life experiences behind us, and probably every other than maybe brain surgery or I know what it feels like, but
I don't think I would advise any of us to trust any of us to help to do any brain surgery on any of us. So just, and I really appreciate what you're saying, Jim, and that's this. I got to tell you, because if I haven't told you, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm probably going to tell you again because I may forget that I told you, but if I remember, I'm going to tell you anyway. The amount of absolute, it's not even a shackle or a weight or anything. It's more like the fog in the air. I don't know if you get when you have been to a place where you have to chew your breaths, the humidity. What I'm talking about. Gee, humidity is so bad. You walk outside, you have to chew your breaths to, and when it was enough of a polluted environment. That made it even worse. I remember being in Sao Paulo. I was back there in the 90s. I was in Beijing, and that was when some of the pollution was really bad, and they were just trying to get it, just getting it cleaned up, and that was ruthless. But my point is that was the kind of oppression, that kind of sense of what I felt relieved from, knowing that this. At least going back again to the point that I was making, trying to tie the last 16 years together in some kind of little basket. In 2008, when O'Bumble got in, putting up with all that bullshit, knowing that, oh, this is a fraud. And let's see how well it's able to be maintained and before it's exposed, and hopefully it will be. But there's no doubt. But you got to roll. I mean, you're not going to be the one going, I wasn't going to go take a bullet for this. Okay. But I was going to keep an eye on it, which is what I did. There was a bump called Trump. They didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought by all of the metrics and the machines that they had their fingers and hands and everything on, they didn't need to pull any of that stuff because they didn't see what was really going on. Me, when I was watching that campaign, Trump started his rally thing when he was campaigning. And I was watching all these events with these thousands of people showing up. I'm going, dude, this dude's got some mojo. He's got juice in his mojo. And you're telling me that he's not ahead? What? No. So it caught them by surprise. They didn't catch it in time. They were caught off guard because they can't plan. They don't strategize. They don't think ahead. There's no any kind of what if that goes on in that model. It's only, here's the goal, get it. Damn the torpedoes kind of model. And you go, well, how's that been working out for you? If you got product that has to be forced on the folks to consume it, you probably got a shitty product.
And the good thing about all this is we're just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So
I mean, wait till after he's in office and we have a few Supreme Court justices decide to retire and Trump gets to reappoint young conservatives to the bench again.
I'm gonna say it right now because I think I already did say it, but I will say it in a more concise way, hopefully. So, what we just watched. Okay, so back in the '90s, as I was when I discovered the Tao and the I Ching and I became a Tai Chi instructor. I'd already been exposed to Eastern belief systems in the mid 80s when I became a shiatsu practitioner. I had to learn traditional Chinese medicine, kinesiology, herbology, reflexology, all of the massage techniques. But in the 90s is when I really got into, because when I studied Tai Chi to become an instructor, I really got into the Tao. And I realized that all of the shit that I had been thinking I felt was wrong, and here was the a clearer definition and understanding of reality than that. So when I pursued that, I went, okay, well, now I realize that the expression of my existence in reality is based on all these frequencies. And do you realize that it is? We just passed a year since we did our first show with you.
Really?
We started talking about frequencies and vibrations.
What?
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and it took us like 3 shows to get to the subject because we kept we squirreled off somewhere on something else.
Yeah,
So-
that was
But
I think it was at least 4 shows.
Yeah,
I
something
haven't,
like that.
I haven't been asked for an autograph at the story though. I would think someone would be bored on a Saturday night. Well, I ain't got fucking nothing to do. I'll see what the geezer geeks want. And you know what they get? You get the truth, boys and girls.
Well, because that's all we got. We don't
Yeah.
have enough to make shit up with. And the nice thing about it is, if you stick with the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Was it Twain, I think, that quipped that? So, we are now, we're right at 2 hours, perfect. So now we're into the future. And the future is where we really need to spend our time. And it's always interesting to get a multitude of various perspectives of your stuff from different people. not only different people that you may not know or agree with, but people also from other countries. And it's sometimes very revealing and interesting when you listen to what people from other countries think about what you and I and us are going through. So, are you guys familiar with Sargon of Akkad? Carl Benjamin?
Maybe.
Lotus eaters. So these guys, brilliant, totally highly recommend. And you'll see why. So this is a prognostication from our British friends across the pond. Pond? Yeah, the pond on what they think, because these guys are just laughing at what's happened. So now they're going to offer what they think may be the future for what I'm calling the complete collapse and demise of what was once known as the Democratic Party. It is completely destroyed. It will fracture, and you'll see this pile of fighting little bits and chunks and nuggets, and they'll all kind of flow out and fall into all kinds of different crevices, and some will be consumed here and there. There's a complete disarray and disorientation, and anything that has to do with their mental processes, and they are just fluttering about going fuck. So that's going to last for a while. But our friends over across the pond have their own perspective. Let's see what they got to say.
Okay, let's talk about what might be next for the Democrats then. So we did their meltdown and we did what actually happened. And now what about the future? Because the future is, it's full spectrum dominance by the Donald within the White House, Senate, Congress, and he's also got the Supreme Court. So
is it me or
where
is
do the
British
Dems go from here? It was a bit of a
funnier?
shellacking, wasn't it? He even won the popular vote, but to the tune of 5 million odd. So that's
5 million
I
odd.
think they're going to have Biden 2028 campaign.
They're actually going to weekend at Birmingham this time. Actually have little stilts and sticks holding him up. Or maybe Jimmy Carter, third run. He's still alive.
Yeah.
He's about as much of a corpse as Biden is.
He's in much better shape than Biden. He can drive a golf ball like 50 yards further than Biden. No. You shouldn't joke. Jimmy Carter's
He's on his way out.
Terrible state. Poor man. Okay. We do have a merch store about this stage in the segment. Should mention the merch store. Can buy some Trump themed merch. We were going to end it after November the 5th, but because it's doing quite well, we thought we'd give people a bit extra time to buy some merch, t-shirts, posters, mugs, all that kind of good stuff. Helps us keep the lights on here because we're demonetized and we haven't got any sugar daddies. So please do
Speak for
think
yourself,
about something. Well, I mean, as an organisation, you're not in the stable. You're not in O'Neill's stable, are you?
Well, I never kiss and tell. No, I've already gone through twink death.
Okay. So Kamala Harris finally, it took her a day to sort of come to terms with her defeat, just like Hillary did. But the next day, i.e. yesterday now, she finally came out and gave a speech. We don't actually need to listen to it. It's the same old thing. Really. There's nothing special in it particularly. Did you watch it?
I've seen the clips from it. She comes across like she doesn't really care all that much.
Didn't seem too fast.
Like
to be honest.
she knew. She woke up that morning, looked in the mirror, and went, "Yeah, I'm a loser." She knew she's a natural loser. Same with Waltz as well. They're both natural losers. She was like, "Well, I suppose there is a glass ceiling for me."
Yeah.
She shrugged her shoulders and went, "Well, I'm already rich. Who cares?"
I can still make literally millions on the talking circuit.
She was
sell a book or two that someone else will ghostwrite for me.
Yeah, she was thinking my MSNBC career is already cemented, so I don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't change, they're gonna lose also the next one because she can't be spontaneous. She can't talk.
They really, upon reflection, they do really come across as a pair of sacrificial lambs.
Yeah.
I think it will.
Yeah.
AA had a decent take on that, saying that the establishment, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, sort of think that there will be a big financial crisis in the next 4 years. So they don't want their side in power at the time. So sort of deliberately lose this one, sort of deliberately throw this one, so that Trump is in power during that period. And so you put up a sacrificial lamb who you expect to lose, who will lose. Harris Waltz. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I did think didn't seem particularly bothered. You know what sprung to mind is when Theresa May had to leave Number 10, she was really almost crying, and like really, really holding herself back from crying. Do you remember when Boris left? When he came out of Number 10 and gave his speech, he seemed like he was over the moon. he was actually sort of like bubbly and laughing and stuff. Do you remember that? It was weird. It was really weird because he got totally cooed. He got totally stabbed in the back. I would expect you to be really bitter and angry and upset and stuff, but he seemed, no, it's fine. Yeah, no.
It's a lot less stress afterward, didn't it?
Yeah. It's a load off.
Yeah.
That's right.
Finally, the newspapers will stop insulting me.
I mean, if you have people who go after office without caring for the country, they just want to take the office. Well, they take it and then they can leave and they're happy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Johnson and others are the kind that would want to take office, like you say, purely for the sake of having it on their CV.
Yeah, just have
I
a
did
picture, then I'm going to show it to my guests.
I ran the UK once, don't you know?
I won the election. Next day, I resign. I
I got the photo. Been there, done that.
You can imagine people like Rishi or Liz Truss literally doing that at a dinner party. I was prime minister once, you know. People are like, yeah, all right, of course you were.
Tiny little
Yeah.
Indian man, prime
Yeah.
minister. All right, you say so.
So yeah, she finally conceded, and she was quite gracious about it. She could have been sort of bitter, I suppose. Could have thrown a few more barbs in there, and she didn't. So at least give her that. So what is the future? Some pundits were saying that she sort of left the door open, or a small amount of wiggle room for herself to maybe keep going at the top of the party and maybe even run
I don't
next
see
time and
that
stuff.
happening.
Even if that's what she wants, which I wouldn't put it past her, I don't think she would ever get the nomination from the party. I mean, the only reason she got here in the first place is because they did everything they could to outmaneuver Bernie to make her VP in the first place. And then we all know she didn't face a primary because they cooed Joe. So that's the only reason she was ever running for prez in the first place, is because she was placed there. I don't think the party didn't want her anywhere near it.
Ridiculously unpopular. That's
Yeah,
why she
yeah,
won the nomination in 2020.
Yeah, the party didn't want her anywhere near power, let alone running for the top job. So even if she wants to still be involved in the very, very top tier of American politics, it's done. I think she's in the bin of history now.
I'm remembering the Kamala checklist for why they chose her for VP after Biden got the nomination, which was literally black woman, tick, tick. There you go.
I think she's going to write a book called Breaking the Glass Ceiling.
Something like that. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly the sort of thing she'll do. And
Oh, so our British brothers over there seem to have a, I don't know, kind of a resonant take. What do you guys think?
Isn't it amazing though how many places that you saw on the internet, whether it was Moscow, whether it was Britain, wherever other country, were all celebrating that Trump won?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It sort of irritates when they when you have a group of lefties, primarily on the coasts or on the Democrat-run cities, that there's the one who they're the ones who burn things down if it doesn't go their way, or if they're incited to do so by an unknown means. I can hardly wait for the guillotine to come down on so many federal agencies, especially the alphabet agencies.
Yeah.
They all need to be gutted, and some just shut down.
And Germany's political system already failed.
Yeah, but there's no one quite like the once upon a time ruler of Germany.
Well, this
I
goes
don't
back
know,
to one of the central themes and memes I'm trying to drive with the content that I'm sharing and the conversation. There was a significant sea change in the ideological spectrum of the craniums of the carbon units around the planet. It was whether they saw it and cognitively with mentition considered it, or they just felt it. There was definitely a lot more feel, because the feel was there, and if you had the cognition to be aware of it, you were aware of it. But that's part of the problem that we are now seeing when we showed the clips, the Mark Dice, and oh my God, I didn't even bother with Kimmel. And here's one of the interesting odd things in the psychological melee that's going on in the cognitive clog within all of these people. The first of all, the fact that it turned out so drastically opposite than what they were told and expected is one thing. And then having the reaction to it. But then the thought that their reaction to it would benefit them and their position, and making that public, and thinking that that was a persuasive way in which to get people to be sympathetic to them, to be empathetic to them, to be accepting of them. It's like, wait a minute, you just basically shot everything that you had at trying to push the ideology and the agenda that you preferred, and it failed miserably. It was rejected resoundingly. This was the great rejection, the great repudiation, the great resounding fuck you. But the problem is that's not going to change the actual effect that's coming. And this leads me to my next quick share here of something that we've talked about. And here's somebody saying, all right, this is probably what's going to happen. So I'm not sure why this site is showing up black the way it is, but that's the headline. This guy's predicting the greatest mental health crisis in U.S. history if Trump defeats Harris. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Yeah.
Has he been listening to the Geezer Geeks by any chance?
I mean, I'm amazed at the lack of fires, unless the ones in Southern California were set.
Well, we called it this. Now it's starting to be called, we saw it with just the clips that we watched tonight. If there was any question about the mental stability of any of the people that were shown in any of these clips, you need to not be a part of the conversation. If you can't see and ask questions as a result of what are you talking about in front of you, you need to exit the conversation. You're not going to add anything to it. But that brings me to, speaking of that, let's see, we got with the refounders, we did Brits. The new media we'll get to. Tulsi, okay. Just as a segue into the future. I don't know. I know Jim's not a big fan, so Jim, you can go drain your bladder.
I shall return.
But the rest of us will enjoy the new trailer for
You asked.
Captain America, Marvel, Brave New World. Gee, what a title. How is it that kind of ties into what's going on here? Let's see if the movie's any good, shall we? Here's the trailer. It ain't out yet.
You asked for me. Here I am. You want to help me? Is there anything you remember?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross.
Whatever this is, Cap, be careful.
What do we know?
There were 5 shooters. This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.
I was a wartime general. Now I'm a wartime president. Your inner circle's been compromised. Let me fix it.
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Wait for it.
We're on the brink of war. I can't trust anyone. Nothing about this feels right.
Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
Someone's been pulling the strings on everything.
You're under arrest?
I don't want a variable out there that I can't control.
Stop!
Captain America caught without his wings.
You'd like to play dress up and blindly execute the state's orders.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
What if this is a trap? You don't even know what this is.
Since when were they red?
You want me? Come and get me!
All righty then. There you go. Brave New World. Looks like there's some maybe some nuggets and
It went by really quick, but I saw the split screen of Harrison Ford.
Hold on here. Hold on. Oh shit. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, that looks like an interesting movie. I'm a big Marvels fan, so whatever they put out, I'm gonna check it out, but I will give them shit if I don't like it.
Yeah, what's the Hulk red?
I don't know. That's a whole new one for me.
Interesting.
In that brief scene with Harrison Ford looking out the window where he became half alien, and it was red on that side too.
Yeah, there was some kind of crazy shit going down there. So, as a part of cleaning up, I'll just put this up just as another nugget in the stack here. So we talked about the founders. We talked about the correlation in the astrology and the energies and the personalities and the events and all of the different all the energies that encompass the time that is now. And the great pushback is also going down, and the rise of the pissed off peeps is now it's engaged around the planet, not just here. So adjudicating the misdeeds of the predecessors and all of these foolish folks who were fucking around with all of the systems and to their advantage and creating havoc, chaos, mayhem, and otherwise. Going back, I'm just going to throw this little nugget in just to tie it in. Here's another pattern recognition, which is exactly why AI is here now, because it's designed as finding the most efficient way to execute a task. That's what it does. So what better time with a whole bunch of broken shit to throw something at it that can go figure out how to make it better? I mean, how fucking brilliant is that? But the part of that reconstitution. Trump in that ad I played at the beginning, or his policy was, his approach was a policy of non-interference and maintaining non-interference. That was the overall arching message that he was saying. He was saying that the intrusion had stepped way over it got way out over its skis. And I'm going to call it out. How many of us have known that for how long?
Seems like forever.
How many of us have known that for how long and have wondered if ever it would come back?
Right.
And there was always hope. But my God, you had the Magic Negro, skid mark.
There's no doubt that the whole Bumble thing was a complete fraud.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And it gets real interesting. And when let's walk in the woo, shall we? There's that interview with that Russian woman that just totally called out that no, and it was recorded in the late 70s. Your president's already been picked. He'll be black. He'll have these characteristics. He's already been put in place. And then if you even throw in the Andrew Basiago and the Project Pegasus, and the fact that Andrew says he met O'Bumble in his time travel stuff, it's like, okay, all right. You keep throwing nuggets at me that have all these different disconnected yet pattern recognition and mapping elements. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to have a look. Gee, isn't that what you do with your show at Midwest? I mean, you are diving into that, which is what, right?
Right. Yeah, we like to I mean, our show is called Piercing the Veil, which I'm not so sure there's a veil anymore, but we like to look into the unknown, the stuff that's hidden, but we know it's there. We know there's something to it because we keep getting this evidence and these stories and people's experiences, but physically that's hidden for us. We can't see it yet. And I think that's what a lot of this political and stuff going on is, stuff that's hidden from us. But we know what's going on. We just need to get it out there in the forefront, bring it to light.
President Trump mentioned this is before the demise of the 2020 and all the crime that happened because of it and after it, during it. But he said one of the things that he intends to do if he ever gets, and I think it's about 2020, but I don't think his mind has made any major changes, that he was going to declassify everything. There's no, I mean, most of the classification, I know the classification as it pertained to the Blackbird, it was they showed him the YF-12 interceptor. They didn't show him this, they didn't show any money counters from Congress. They didn't show him the A-12, which was the one designed to overfly the Soviet Union. Never did, but that's what it's designed for. And but they flew over North Korea. They flew over North Vietnam.
Speaking of North Korea, sorry to interrupt you, but you just reminded me that I forgot to cover the North Korea thing, because there is, or it's actually South Korea. Sorry, I'm gonna see, where did I put it? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Because you guys also brought this up earlier, and I think this is something that is just another example of the hooey that's thrown into the minds of the foolish. And it... hold on a second here. Something's happened. Okay, there we go. All right, so this goes back to this whole Oh, and that brings me to one that I forgot that I wanted to make sure we did. So this is a good segue to add that in as an additional nugget to roll around in the noggin.
He spends all day.
You remember what I
thinking
said that
and all week.
this election is going to come down to? It's going to be the boys against the girls.
Yeah.
And what it ended up being was the masculine men and the feminine women against the masculine women and the feminine men.
Yep.
Another notch in the noggin for the predictive thing.
Yep.
But we talked earlier about, you mentioned the 4B thing, right?
Right.
And how these women are just like, we're gonna cut you off to punish you. And I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just calling it like I see it. I haven't seen any of these women that I would even want to have anywhere near spending any kind of time with, even if it was something that I didn't have to participate in. But we've all got our own preferences and tastes. All right, so this is our buddy Dick Allgaier over at the Future Forecasting Group.
Oh, it's always good.
And this is his take on the 4B phenomena.
Why are these women really threatening to stop having sex with men? Hi there, crypto fans. Dick Allgaier here. Another beautiful day at Ethereum Place. Since Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris so overwhelmingly, certain American women have been taking to TikTok and other social media, threatening to not have anything to do with American men for the next 4 years. No sex, no dating, no marriage. We're not going to have anything to do with you. That'll teach them. Okay, I'm going to outline why this is actually cultural Marxism and why these women have no idea that they're actually dupes of communist ideology, okay? So I'm going to give you the history of the thing. Let's start with one of the women on TikTok giving her reasons for not having sex with men because Kamala Harris lost. Take it away.
Yeah, as a woman, my bodily autonomy matters, and this is my way to exercise sovereignty over that. So I highly encourage any other women that are single and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily autonomy to do the same. Delete your dating apps, because we can come together in community, and if you need somebody to cuddle or hold your hand or give you a kiss, I bet you one of your girlfriends would do it, okay? And you don't even have to really be gay, okay? It's okay to have a lot of platonic love for the next 4 years. I think we can look to South Korea and the 4B movement as a point of inspiration for us.
Okay, you'll note that she mentioned the 4B movement. The 4B movement was a feminist movement that started about a little over a decade ago in South Korea. And the reason it's called 4B, how many of you know why it's B, 4B? Because B in Korean means no. So the 4 tenets of the 4B movement were biseksu, no sex, bichulsan, no birth, bione, no dating, and bihon, no marriage. So B means no. So biseksu, bichulsan, bione, bihon. No sex, no birth, no dating, no marriage. And the proponents of this, actually it comes from communist Chinese ideology, but the proponents of this variation of it in South Korea were 2 women named Jung Se-young and Baek Ha-na. Okay, they didn't want to have anything to do with men, no sex, no marriage, no dating. What do you suppose they look like? Let's try to visualize what they might look like. Oh, there they are. Who would have imagined that these 2 ladies would want to swear off men? I don't know. I never would have imagined that. Okay, there I am I'm trying to not be sexist, snarky, and too sarcastic, but hey, I got to have fun with this. Okay, where did that ideology come from? If you look at the Chinese Communist Cultural Revolution from Chairman Mao in the 1960s, this was about 1966, they had a similar for no movement. Now, in communist China, it was more based on cultural, it was class warfare. It was class warfare. So the four no's in the Chinese Cultural Revolution were no old ideas, no old culture, no old customs, no old habits. So this was class warfare. And as you hear in this soundbite, this has now been updated for the 2000s from class warfare into gender and racial warfare. This lady lays it out.
Right? Coloring my hair, having my hair be long and luxurious, all that, being skinny, being hot, being all the things that the patriarchy wants us to be, because clearly they don't give a shit about us. And I'm talking to you too, those of you ladies who have the internalized misogyny required to do what you did. Minorities who are so scared of a woman in power that you'd rather cozy up to the white man just in case some crumbs fall off his plate.
So it was class warfare under Chinese communism, then it morphed into gender warfare, and now it's going to gender and racial warfare. But what interests me is these women, aren't they demeaning themselves? Aren't they being sexist if they're saying, hey, this will show you because we're so upset that Kamala didn't win, we're not going to have sex with you. Like as if that is the only thing that gives you value, is having sex with a man. Is that how you really see yourself? I don't see women that way. So okay. And the last example of the woman threatening to not have sex is, to me, the most terrifying one. Let's hear this girl.
We're dry. We're probably going to stay dry. I'm dry as a desert, baby, and I don't want it to change. Yeah, we're not going to like you anymore. You understand that? Like, it doesn't matter if you take away abortion. Like, we'll want to have your babies even less, right? Even if you take away contraception, like, women are really good at celibacy because you guys are actually a threat to us.
That would be my idea of a living hell, would be having to have that woman say that to you every day. Do you understand me?
You understand that?
Speaking about future forecasters, have they forecasted anything from the future?
Did you guys we got some new folks in the chat. Yeah, Kathita, thank you for coming. I hope we pronounced that right, Kathita. Earl JP still hanging. Woo's in the house. Bim Jim. Karen's in. Thank you, my dear. Yeah, New Year's Eve coming up is going to be lit. The energy flow and the flux that has been freely flowing through the reality we inhabit just took a major, nice wave. Thank you very much, It
was a holy shit moment.
We saw, this is the cool thing for me. We saw the results. We didn't see the intensity and the definity and the alacrity. I mean, it was like, boom. Wow. I thought that might take a little longer. I thought they might hang this thing out for a while. I think there might be all kind of shenanigan shit that all the people that were now watching who weren't watching last time in all the places that had all the leaks. I mean, come on. That was, to me, it was the same sense and the same kind of feeling I experienced when they took the shot at Trump back in July 13th. I was already on high alert because of Cliff's predictive linguistics and the tarot and the astrology, and my birthday was Monday. So I was already on, like, I got it on, I'm watching. And then that happened. It was like, whoa, and they missed him? He survived. He got up and he said what? He did what? And there's epic pictures of what? Oh, yeah, that was staged. Yeah, I think, yeah, good. Well done. Spielberg and Lucas combined couldn't pull that off. But I felt that same energy when I was watching it Tuesday. And then as it got closer, and then we had to get on and do our geezer glow.
Well, you know what? One thing that I noticed about all of them, the 4B movement, is the one thing I noticed it's all the same about all of them. And the one thing that they all have in common is they're already single. So they got that going for them.
Okay, so we got some LMDs action going on in the chat. Catheta and Ghost are switching entities, and sweet.
I mean, it is from someone who loves history. That's what I did in the Air Force for 16 years, so the Air Guard. Yeah, I've written historical books. This is the most historical time since the revolution. As far as the total change from almost a Marxist, well, not a Marxist regime which we're still under, to that of a free and fair republic. And that, I mean, it's a difference between night and day. I'm surprised. I know there was ballot dumping. Someone, a number of people had that recorded. Primarily in blue states. But we won a hell of a lot. And I thought I heard earlier, and I may be wrong, that I don't know if the RNC announced it or someone announced it, that Lake had won.
Oh, nice.
Lake had won the Senate. I couldn't, Ruben Gallego he's a male version of Hillary. He'll do anything, get by.
Well,
one week before his first wife gave birth to their first child, he filed for divorce because he was going to run off with his little chickie assistant that he had in his campaign.
Well, I mean, come on. Remember we were talking about the founders earlier and the whole energy thing. Ben, John, and all the cats back there, they had all their little side action going on, just like everybody has for millennia. It's a part of the human nature that is either contained and managed and mitigated, or it flourishes, i.e. Pompeii. But then it becomes a whole other dynamic. But that's a discussion for a different time. I have something else, because I think we were talking a little bit about, we were starting to walk on the woo, and it must have been, it had to be Goodall that got us sidetracked, because I think we were talking about one thing. The next thing I know, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, and I'm trying to come back, and I don't remember what that was.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
I have an excuse.
That's what I'm talking about. But besides all of that hooey, there's some other hooey afoot. We've talked about it many times. I wax on about it probably too much. It's not disclosure, it's exposure. And the thing is that the information, the data that we get on what they're putting in the UFO, UAP, EIEIO category in their ufology groups, there's
Talking
still
about
data
February?
in there. So let me see if I can pull this up. Grab that. Click here. Tickle that. And Charre. So have you guys seen these UFOs in the storms?
No.
This is over in Spain.
Yeah.
A couple days ago. Let's see what happens here.
The cousin brothers are there. They probably they caused it.
Yeah, they're about to drop some good stuff.
Hostia, ¿qué cojones? Es que sí, que sí, que sí. ¿Qué cojones es eso?
See him up
Son
there?
putos ovnis, hermano.
Yeah.
¡Hostia puta!
¿Dónde están?
Ahí.
Ahí, sí, se ven. Al final. Estoy grabando uno. Hostia, qué puta pasada. ¿Qué coño es eso? Hermano. Luego decís que no existen, hijos de la gran puta. Dios, allá al final.
Let's watch that one more time.
What's good in Albuquerque?
This one's good.
No, that's not good. Give that back to me. You guys saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hostia, ¿qué cojones? Es que sí, que sí, que sí. ¿Qué cojones es eso? Son putos ovnis, hermano.
¡Hostia puta!
Okay, now that wouldn't be birds that would be reflecting like that. And they seem like they had some kind of their own luminance or luminescence where they were pulsing with some kind of energy. Did you see that? Let's see here.
Son putos ovnis, hermano.
¡Hostia puta!
See them kind of blink in a little bit?
Well, that could be, I mean, it is a cloudy day. So it could be like sun bouncing off of the sun rays that are poking through the clouds.
Hostia, qué puta pasada. ¿Qué coño es eso? Hermano.
It's a lot of erratic movement.
Luego decís que no existen, hijos de la gran puta. Dios, allá al final.
The birds.
That was
birds
a
wouldn't-
lot of-
wouldn't illuminate. They wouldn't light up the area or light up their path.
There's a lot of erratic movement, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't birds. Birds kind of, they can go like erratic at times, but it's,
They grow in a almost like a flow to get all together.
yeah.
You see a billion starlings do that, and that's really quite amazing until you realize they just shit on your house and you can't. You need a snow shovel to get to it.
I thought you were going to bring up the new congressional meeting in February about UFOs, and are your buddy Lou's going to be there?
I mean, I know they do have some pretty fancy like kites, but that doesn't seem like you could fly a kite like that.
No.
Like
Well,
how they were
but,
doing
but
it.
Clay, it all depends on what your fuel is. And I'm thinking that this could get you there.
Oh, it's money.
13 tons of cocaine.
Holy.
That could definitely get you there.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
What are we gonna do tomorrow?
Never held. I tried it once in 1983, and it took me. The guy I was with, his name was Doc Holliday, and I known him since I was about 11, and we were back for our 20th high school reunion, and it was myself, a former friend named Bruce. I won't let his say his last name because he's still alive. But he decided to join us. He was friends with everybody that we were going to hang with. Well, it turns out Doc was a major procurer of nose candy, and he sold to wholesalers. He finally got out of it of cocaine in 1983, between the three of us over a 10-day period. And it took me 3 weeks to calm down. I couldn't get a hard on if my life depended on it. It was just wake up. I mean, you have all the desire in the world, and that thing down there is just, nope, I ain't going nowhere. I think I'll just maybe a week or two, or maybe 3, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. So, nose candy is very wicked.
Oh, with the pure stuff I was fortunate about the same time. I was getting I was getting chunks of the kilo, like corners, and the outside was, had been formed to the bag, but you'd snap it off and it was just this glistening pearl, serrated. It would separate like that, and that's when it was pure. And I was getting all that I could snort. And it was so good. When it's really pure and you don't abuse it, it's like anything else. Anything that is really good cannot be really good for you if you do too much of it. But this is speaking of, this whole what is going on out there in the cosmos, because we got this film and shit. We get all kinds of weird anomalies and shit going down. And this one seems to be kind of interesting as well. Our good friend, Mr. MBB333.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going down to the skies of Melbourne, Australia. As promised a couple of days ago, I've been working on video footage of something spotted in the nighttime sky from Melbourne, Australia that appeared to be swarmed with lights, like the object we just saw out of Las Vegas. Also, you guys are going to see mysterious lights in Arizona in 2 locations. But first, over here at the homepage of the website and of an M-class solar flare, right now as I do this video, looking at the planetary K-index, there was a geomagnetic storm here in the last 24 hours. It was a G1 geomagnetic storm. And here's what the skies looked like last night from St. Marie, Montana. Photos sent in by Joseph, taken at 12:30 p.m. You can see the sky at times was loaded with bright green, bright red. You can see some sort of a beam right there. I don't know if that's some sort of a light anomaly. Right there's the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. Skies of Montana just loaded with stars. Look like jewels in the nighttime sky. Amazing photos from last night's brief geomagnetic storm, but strong enough to push auroras all the way down into the skies of Montana. Thank you, Joseph. Really appreciate that. Looking at the Earth-facing side of the sun, we can see more of the same here in the coming days as the solar disk is loaded with sunspots in active regions. Hopping over to the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera, looking at the seismographs that monitor the mighty supervolcano. Not too much going on. A little bit of earthquake activity up here at Mammoth Vault and the very busy northwestern quadrant. But all in all, for a super volcano, things are pretty quiet. I want to take you guys now to the skies of Arizona. I have 2 videos to share with you guys. Here's the first one out of East Mesa, Arizona, sent in by Autumn from the night of November 2nd of 2024, when she looked up and saw this cruising through the nighttime sky of Arizona. And coming up is video number 2. It has narration. Here we go.
What are those lights? There was one big light that turned into smaller lights. They're all over Arizona sky. There's one up. There's one up there. That's a huge one. But for the most part, they've been pretty stationary.
That video footage was taken by Louisa from right out here in Arizona. Could have been near the East Mesa location. I'm not 100% sure on the location. All I know is the skies of Arizona on the same night. This started off as a large light that turned into a series of single lights that you see right low to the ground along the coast of Oregon. This ties in with an incident that occurred not too far from this location here very recently. There was a very rare tornado in the British Columbia area north of the coast of Oregon, obviously a couple hundred miles to the north, but there have been some ominous clouds here recently in the Pacific Northwest. One producing a tornado that was being described as like something out of a movie. A very rare tornado touched down at 10:40 a.m. once again in British Columbia. They say this is super rare. They hardly ever have tornadoes in the area. And you can see it took down some large evergreen trees that occupied 2 lanes of that highway right there. Once again in British Columbia. Want to take you guys now to the skies of Hartford, Georgia. Check this out. Big old wedge up in the sky noticed by Shah, once again, out of Hartford, Georgia. Also have an erupting volcano to share with you guys, visible from space. Over here in the far western Bering Sea, this would be considered far eastern Russia. This is the volcano right here. You can see the eruption visible on Zoom.Earth. Watch right here. You can see the plume of ash and smoke as the volcano erupts, go up into the sky some 11 kilometers, just over 5 miles high, drifting out over the Bering Sea. Local witnesses said they saw lightning coming up out of the volcano as it was erupting, and it's still erupting right now as I do this video. Want to take you guys now down to Melbourne, Australia. Here we go. Something very mysterious spotted in the sky that looks similar to what was spotted above Las Vegas in yesterday's video. Lana took this video from the night of 11/5/2024. Check this out. She noticed this moving through the nighttime sky. This thing was super quiet and very high up in the sky. But notice the lights that are surrounding this thing. Away from most of the population of Earth. This thing was very away from most of the population of Earth. This thing was very quietly sneaking past the Earth. But Lana happened to be looking at the right place at the right time, pulled out her recording device, and captured this mysterious object surrounded by what almost looks like static as it was moving through the nighttime sky above Melbourne. Once again, this video was taken on the night of November 5th of 2024. And I have one more video to share with you guys out of Minnesota. It has a narration. I want you to hear the eyewitnesses' account of this cylinder that was moving through the nighttime sky above Minnesota, and then we'll come back and analyze the video. And here's the narration.
What is that?
A UFO.
But that's not an airplane. That is not an airplane.
And as you emphatically heard Garrett say, this was not an airplane, and it's clearly not an airplane. Looks like a cylinder without the wings and the tail fin or blinking lights. The entire thing appears to be glowing. These are slowed down, zoomed in, obviously heavily modified versions of whatever this was, very quietly cruising through the skies above Minnesota. I've been receiving a lot of video footage here recently of cylinders in the day and nighttime sky, and they all appear to be about the same size with the same personality. No blinking lights, no noise, just a cylinder with no wings. At MrMBB333.com. If you guys have any videos you'd like to share that are too large to attach to the email, come over here to the homepage of the website. Look for this red banner that says, have a large video. It's a Dropbox. Drag and drop your videos into the Dropbox. Please include your first name, date, and location, and I'll take it from there.
So, what do you think of Mr. MBB333's latest collection?
Yeah, we follow him. We see a lot of his videos. I got one similar to that if you'd want to see it. This was the first video Jane recorded with our psionics when we got it. So it's in color, kind of funky looking. And that's over our backyard. That's our tree in our backyard.
Almost reminds me of like a
Yeah, it looks
centipede.
almost identical to what he just showed.
Yeah.
And then East City Ranch a couple days before that filmed the exact same thing, the same altitude, the same kind of angle to it. And then it came across us. So there you go.
Have you run that through any of the AI tools?
No.
When you do, let us know what that comes up with.
Because we have tons of videos. I mean, if anybody wants to go to Midwest Night Watchers, our channel on YouTube, we have tons of moving stuff in the sky. And like I said, that was our very first one that Jane caught and put up there. And I mean, we have all the lights kind of disappearing into the handle, into the Big Dipper area. They become visible. They kind of flash and Big Dipper, then they're gone.
Guys have all those great big halogen headlights on the front of your golf carts.
There's a couple airplanes in there. You can see the flashing, but everything else is just flying straight in at different angles, different paths, right into the Big Dipper. They become visible, then they disappear.
A couple of years ago, when I was in Sedona with a group of like crazies, Melinda Leslie had our group, and we went out to Bradshaw Ranch. And we got there at about 11 p.m. and everybody had night vision. You look straight up, and there's stuff moving all over the place. And we were closer to midnight by the time we got to the main part of the ranch. And, so the sun is directly behind Earth, and these things are directly above, and these things are moving all over the place. So they're not being illuminated by any external source. They're being illuminated by whatever the low light TV or low light imaging in the night vision scope sees. But it's absolutely amazing what's out there. I was really surprised.
I think it was in the mid 90s. I was heading to Las Vegas. All these cars were pulled over the side of the road, and we couldn't figure out why. And I looked up, and I think it was Comet Hale-Bopp. So we pulled over, and we were just out in the middle of the Nevada desert, and the thing was so huge in the sky, and it was so like bright. And I remember just how amazing it was to see something like that.
Oh, that one that comes only around once every 45 or every 85 years, and it was right there. And it was a crystal clear night, and I think we were about 3,500 feet elevation. And when you go up, I mean that's why the most of your telescopes are on peaks. The higher you go, the thinner the air, the less turbulence you run into. But it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun seeing it.
That last video that I showed, you'd have to watch it and pay close attention, have it on a bigger screen. There's some of them that actually change direction or actually curve off to a different angle.
When I was watching that, it reminded me of the night vision videos I've seen. But that was regular RGB. You were basically black and white.
Well, that was our psionics still, but it was in the black and white or grayscale, whatever you want to call it, because you can have it color, daytime, nighttime, and all the different settings.
But it wasn't night vision.
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff moving around up there.
And it happens every year around the same period of time for like an hour, 2 hours every night for like 3 weeks, or Jane would have to explain it. She's got it down pat.
Only in your neck of the woods in your neighborhood?
Yes. Our backyard facing north, the Big Dipper's there. And it's happened 3 years in a row. Jane's caught it so far.
They got it's the shows like the whole universe. I can't remember what it's called.
Shows the whole universe.
Yeah, it's from the James Webb Telescope.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they took a snapshot. I can't remember where I seen it, but it goes like all the way. Like if you zoom in, you can zoom in like millions and millions of years in the past. And,
Well, you have
where I seen it. I'll have to search it up real quick.
You've got the Hubble you got the Hubble Deep Space, which has been the standard for 15 years or so. But as soon as they pointed James Webb with the infrared, all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, we got 2x. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 3x. Oh, we're getting close to 4x further back than we thought. And oh, poo, there goes the calculations and the math models and machines. And it all needs to be rethunk.
And mathematics said that the expansion should be slowing down, yet it's speeding up.
There's
and
so,
the outer also something on the outer ring of a spiral galaxy will not be traveling as fast as the ones inside.
well, that's because
But he said, but they're doing the exact opposite of what they theorized that what they were going to do.
Yeah.
I can't smoke weed and have a really intelligence
you, well,
conversation.
you can think it, you just can't speak it.
Yeah, I know. Well, at least that.
Wrong things for the wrong reasons in the wrong places. And it's simply because they do not consider the two fundamental components of what we all experience that nobody can explain, but they all be there: the ether and consciousness. And actually, the ether comes from consciousness. Until and that's why consciousness is the hard problem in all disciplines, all sciences, because as soon as you introduce the observer effect, shit goes sideways. Nobody can explain it. That's why the whole quantum computing thing is just a bunch of nonsense. They can't do what they're trying to do because they can't do it because of the way they're trying to do it, which is like, it goes back to this whole theme of tonight about what's happened with this cultural, ideological smackdown that just occurred. And sometimes in order to get balance, you have to put a hard stop on whatever flow is going on. You have to change the course of the flow. You have to engage with it in a way to deflect it in a more harmonious and flowing way, shall we say. And that just happened. The shit that all of us here on this esteemed league of extraordinary geezers,
isn't it the ship of fools,
in the pursuit and the passion of, has now been realized. Publication and creation and distribution and proliferation. This is for humanity, and everybody's going to adopt this. It's just like we were saying before. What did it feel like? Well, it kind of felt like when I was growing up. Kind of remember like shit got straightened up when Dad came home.
Yeah. And Dad came home.
I just posted a link in chat. It shows it updates every couple of hours, but it shows a live view of what the James Webb Telescope is looking at this current time. And you can actually zoom in and zoom out on like the whole thing. It's actually a pretty cool little thing.
That's wild. That's just the fact that it doesn't make any difference who it is if he has the notice what to go into NASA and hit James Webb, and I don't know if everything all links together.
Sweet.
Anybody and everybody now can share the wonders of deep space, and it's far from nothing. There's a lot of nothing in between, but the stuff that's out there is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, as far as just beautiful works of abstract art.
And you have to remember too that it's the frequencies of light.
Yeah.
That's all that is. We understand what we think are the components of that light and the frequencies that emit through that light that we then
Well-
use to determine what the composition might be of the source of said light.
Right. Just think what it
That-
would look like if we had our full spectrum of light that we could see.
Oh,
We'd
we
probably
see
go
like
crazy.
this
We'd probably go
sliver of what's
crazy.
out there.
We'd probably go crazy.
Well, we would have to be in a different, I think, in a different state, some taking out there where the stuff might be. And I think I think that's one of the most profound, influential, important components of the future. And it's going to be, believe it or not, it's going to be brought in by Bobby Kennedy Jr. He even mentioned all of the plant medicine and psilocybin in his, this is what we're going to do. The future for the liberation of reality for the carbon units to engage with and experiences just took a massive take me there move. In my
He's
opinion,
big in holistic medicine and herbal.
all of it, all of it. Anything that makes sense and can works there, and it's based on, does it work, not what is it, what are you
What
using
is
it
it-
for,
what is
what
it
are you masking?
masking?
Well, you
What
know,
is-
what's the nonsense that you're trying, because what's happened, I think, is that the nonsense in the system, the skank in the ranks are now being exposed in a way that people are, that it's too obvious to obfuscate. You can't hide it anymore. And there's enough common sense meters kick green. If you're at the drive-in and you got it hanging off your window, you know what I'm talking.
I mean, you could put probably a small football team in the trunk. It was so huge.
Dude, 72 powder blue Pinto.
Hey, I had a 72. I had a 71 Pinto. It was
We
light-
backed it in and raised the hatch so we could lay in the back and.
Oh, one of my first days, I had a 55 Chevy station wagon. I had a mattress in the back. So I get tired
Wow.
sometime at work. But we gone
Mattress in the back. Imagine, Jim. Wait a minute. You're saying you had a vehicle with a mattress in it?
Yeah.
Can't
It comes
imagine
in
why.
handy. Yeah. But we went to the Rodeo Road drive-in theater. I think I was with Karen Sue Mulligan, and she was, she had been on all Romantic all day. So we're gonna be going to the movie, drive-in. She got so pissed at me because it was the 3 spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood. A Few Dollars More, A Fistful of Dollars, and what was the other one?
Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, and I sat there and watched all of them, and she fell asleep. She was sound asleep, and I was still watching. It was a beautiful day, evening too. So
All right, so let's send it back just another notch.
Click.
Do you remember the like, they were like kind of like little lunch pails, and it was small. It wasn't like a lunch box. Remember they had the rectangular ones. Then you had the ones that had the hood on them, and it's like a little barn, and you'd open up, and your milk container would be in the top.
Yeah, I know
and
which
then-
ones you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, my grandpa always had his thermos of coffee.
Yeah.
He always kept it up in flip it up. It was kind of like a barn house. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the thing up there. So I remember my little thing filled with milk.
What about
Dude,
a rabbit?
you haven't lived until that's what you went to the movies with. That was your shit, and you were sitting there laying in the back seat listening to that speaker, that aluminum speaker hanging on your window.
I have 2 of those.
2 of the
That's right. You had
speakers.
some refurbished, didn't you?
No, I got them actually right out of the drive-in, and one of them, I've had 4 of them. but 2 of them are original. One of them I upgraded to speaker, and I found online the other day that a guy actually has the molding and has the cases for them, and he makes them into Bluetooth.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, I got 2 originals with the core speaker wires and everything off of them, and original speakers out in my garage right now.
That's sweet. See that, and all you need is a kegger and a lawn chair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Projector.
Yeah, projector, and lawn chair, and you
some
know, just-
nachos,
oh,
maybe.
man. So, gentlemen, I think that we are seeing we're seeing what we thought was going to happen a lot sooner than we thought it was going to happen. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're you know, I told Rosemary, she started watching it early on. I said, I'm not going to watch any TV. I don't want to hear any TV over the threshold of 270. I think we're sitting right now is Eastern Oregon and places where they really want to secede from the state. They want to join, they want to become Greater Idaho. And
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, guys, come on. Don't tell me your blood is not pumping.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
tell
it was
me
fun.
that you feel liberated. Don't tell me that you don't feel vindicated.
Oh,
Don't tell me
I've been running with a smile on my
that,
face.
that you, I mean, come on.
Hey, when 100,000 people can be marching down Midtown Manhattan with Trump hats on and not get shot, mugged, run over, and that's by the police. Imagine what the thugs do. And it was a joyous occasion, and there was no trash thrown all over the place. Oh,
There
my
wasn't a
gosh.
single fucking peep about shit. And one of the awesome, I don't know if this is real or not. It looks like it is. But did you see where? So we saw Van Jones call it out. We spent $1 billion to elect Trump.
Yeah, that's
And
priceless.
and
Literally.
apparently
No,
there
$1
are
billion
reports
priceless.
that the campaign's some 20 or more million in debt. So they spent all that, and they don't have enough money to cover it. And Trump, epic. If this is true, this is the epic troll this is the God troll.
I read it true. I also read it.
You read that? He said, hey, as a show of unity, we have a whole bunch of money left over because we used zero cost marketing by going to all of the podcasts, and we got money left over, so we would be more than happy to help you with your debt. Oh my God. And that's the whole they meaning them that are all waxed and waned and whacked and weird and everything else. They tried to sell this. They caused what they are now suffering, and they don't realize it.
Well, look,
They're starting to, but
they call us garbage. Trump shows up in a garbage truck the next day.
ultimate fucking troll.
Kamala talks shit about McDonald's or working for McDonald's. There he is serving fries in McDonald's the next day. You know?
Legend.
Yeah, and then the following day, when you see him in Milwaukee, he's in a brand new white garbage truck with, I don't know if it was Trump 24 or Make America Great Again on the side of his logo, but he was hanging out there in a white shirt, but with his road safety vest on. He's out there, and that is so Trump. He really is a marketing genius all the way around. He really is. He disappeared on us.
You went green screen.
Yeah,
Robert.
we lost your video feed.
Yeah, you're trying to become Kermit. Yeah, or an environmental asshole. One of the two. It's oh no, it was the joyfulness. I've been bouncing around the house, and Rosemary said, Mary, for better or for worse, I guess I can put up with your celebrations. Celebrations.
I feel like there's just an energy right now
There is.
in the
There is.
country.
All of a sudden, I took my, I know I'm going to be able to be on an Ohio class ballistic missile submarine that's been converted to arsenal boat. Then it was 2009. Yeah, 2009. I had a D90, and then I ended up with a 610, and now I have an 850. But the difference,
Wow.
you take something that you thought it was great when you threw it up in your computer screen or whatever. Of course, they didn't have the resolution today's screens have either. And I put it up, and it's soft. It's a good shot, but it's soft.
Right.
I said, well, I'm gonna give it a try, and I ran through their photo AI, and wow, I mean, it blew me away. It blows up. I mean, I had some files that they were almost a terabyte for one photo. It blew up that big to do the manipulation, and then you shrink it down. So in the last couple of days, I mean, I got the bug up my ass. It really happened Wednesday. I got the bug up my ass, and so far I've gone through about 350 photos where I've gone
Wow.
through and did color correction, because a lot of stuff I've had that stuff for a long time, and I had some that were in the file, but it didn't have JPEG or TIFF after it. I don't know what happened, how it lost that link. And God, I had files going back years. I found a file that I forgot I had. It had all the original stuff that I had shot, and it
Well,
was saved.
depending on what format you're using, or whether it's Kodak or whatever, it's called like a cover. So it's not the actual photo, it's like a thumbnail of your photo. So that's why
Yeah.
it doesn't have the JPEG behind it. It's their own special little thing.
Yeah,
So it's
but
not
no, this is stuff I photographed and I posted, and it turned out that somehow when it ended up in my layout, and it's in my file, but there's with my 850 versus a D90 back when I shot it the first time.
wow.
Yeah, the auto enhancements are pretty nice.
Pardon?
Well,
The AI enhancement of photos is a nice little tool.
Yeah, I mean, mine for publication, and I'm going to be on the USS Michigan hopefully in January to photograph the differences between the three Ohio classes. You're
Am I
back.
back now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
we started off talking where you left off about how joyous and how that feeling of
Euphoria.
Yeah,
we have. But
energy.
I was going to say, I mean, this is just the beginning. Wait till he actually
Wait till
the
this shit
Avengers
really
and his
gets
A team
done.
start getting stuff done, and we have both both places in Congress. Man, just think of the stuff we're going to be able to accomplish and get done.
And they already said, someone in the Biden administration said that Sotomayor was told it's her time to retire.
Do you think, let me ask, because I've got my thought on that is like, look, you guys already pulled the coup. You shivved the dude that was in place. Wrong. You guys completely screwed this up. You had, and this goes back to my other point that I've made a few. The only way, since it could have been adjudicated, but the courts weren't the right mechanism to do that. They were the adjudicator, but all of the investigation and all that stuff had to be done in order for any of that to have a chance. The only way you could rid it. Isn't there a cockroach thing? Rid it? Oh,
No, that's
huh? Rid it.
that's
Or
as a
ants or
movie
something, whatever it
character.
is.
Ribbit?
It's a critter
The
killer.
The Chronicles of Riddick.
Kills the critter. Yeah, gets him. Vin Diesel in there and let him have
Yeah.
a whack at it.
Yeah.
But I think, when Yellowstone, which is starting its new season, came out, and there was, people are like loving themselves some Beth. I'm going, yeah, one of the best memes I ever saw was let her loose in Congress for a day.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think they got even, Tulsi is not a Beth, but she's just as tough. Bobby,
We need to take him.
just
We
as
need to
tough.
take him a ride to this train station.
Yeah.
These are tough people that are in these places, going back to the piece that I played about Scott doing the refounders. I like the mapping. I like the pattern recognition. Seems to make a lot of sense in so many ways.
Real
And
quick,
it's
was it Riverside that cuts off after 4 hours? Because I
You
think
are
we're
correct, yes.
Because I think we're getting pretty close to that 4-hour mark.
I was going to say, I thought we were at about 3.5 when my computer rebooted, which has never happened. I don't know what's going on there. Apparently, it's their one last attempt to try to silence the majority, who has now been unleashed. The beast has been unleashed. We have been given carte blanche to now go forth with the truth that the majority are now, but the change that's coming is what's going to blow your, fucking mind. And we've been talking about this. What's around the corner? I thought around the corner was a year or two. Around the corner was now, and we talked about what's it going to be like in August. We said, what's our prediction for next August? And things are going to be pretty good. I think it will be really good much sooner.
I think by the
Right.
time January 5th hits, he's going to have a bunch of stuff just ready to go.
Well, I think with the new programs, we're going to have to reinstate mental health institutions and care for around the country, since they've done away with that. I think we're going to have to reinstitute a program.
Yeah, there's
Good night, Claudette.
Yes. And yeah, we got a few folks hanging in and listening to us wander around, because why? Because they don't have anything better to do.
that's why we're here.
And that's why we're
'Cause
here.
we don't have any better to do
If we had
either.
something better to do, do you think we'd be doing this? No.
Yeah.
This of the paralysis that is now. I mean, we are watching the rippling all of that ideology wherever it is. Entertainment, politics, media, sciences, academics, didn't matter. Wherever that ideology is now a target, because they are obvious to the rest. Choose wisely, little grasshoppers.
I
And
think
if you need help in choosing and making said choice, you can always come to the Geezer Geeks. Geezer Geeks, we can
Gazing.
help you figure this shit out. We have done this shit for long enough to have some kind of ideas of how to navigate your way through the nonsense. And that's the only reason we show up here, is
And
because
they still let me, and he still lets me on.
that's the only way. The only reason we show up here is because we've got nothing to do but to talk about that. So there
Yep.
you go.
Yeah.
And we have different memberships and plateaus that you can sign up for. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
No matter what state or what you're in, we have a program for you.
Professor
We've got
Bauer
everything.
is- Professor
We've got
Bauer
everything
is
from
the
beer and blood
originator.
rituals to next of kin. So yeah,
Yeah.
choose your plan wisely.
And I'm the old fuck that they feel sorry for, so they let me on.
I still feel like there's something like the other shoe hasn't dropped yet.
Oh no, we
Well,
got great stuff to
they're
come.
going to try their damnedest to do something. I know They would please them. Nothing would please them more is to take Vance and pull that off. But
Well, so let me posit this about that. Have you noticed how quiet it's been?
yeah, it's been wonderful. My phone
Do
isn't filled
I-
up with messages.
Do you what I mean? It's always whenever your kids or your dogs are too quiet for too long, you go check
Yeah.
on them. Lap.
Yeah.
And it was
Flick-
so
flicking-
profound.
yeah.
And it was
Flick-
so
flicking
profound that
boogers
it
at
was in
'em.
the oh, what the fuck was that category?
Yeah.
And it was a stun. It was a whoa, what was that? And upon stepping back and looking at what you just ran into,
Yeah.
and at least having some cognitive understanding of what just happened, you realize that, oh fuck, that's impenetrable. I can't go through that. That's
Right.
not going to work. So there was the shock and the magnitude of the event and that realization, coupled with a pause to go, all right, one of the few times that they stop and have to have some self-reflection and go, all right, what do you do about this? Because this was fucking major and I wasn't counting on this. Did not see this coming, which is their motto. They should have, libtard. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. They didn't see this coming either.
Yeah, right. Ha ha.
Can they shoot, or is that just
No, it's this guy. It's just like the ones that was in the New York police when they first brought it out.
That's for Trump. Yeah,
Optimus is right inside the doorway waiting.
I think Elon might be deploying the ninja Optimus
Well,
and using Trump as the testing grounds.
in the device that was going to send what's her name to a different world,
Right.
and
Yeah.
And
Why
that's
buy
sort of-
one when you can build two?
yeah,
Oh yeah, and contact. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That and absolutely right.
and Elon is that guy. I mean,
Elon-
he can catch a 225-ton rocket that has
With
been to
chopsticks.
space, and he caught it with chopsticks. You got
Right.
to be fucking kidding me! Only a mad genius would do something and that be that foolish. Well, one of his Falcon 9 rockets, when they retired it, I think they put it in a museum somewhere in some city. Is the fact that it had 21, I believe it was 21 launches to its credit. Just think how you're reusing it. What you're basically looking at now is I don't know how much refurbishing is done on the rockets, but they pretty much paid for themselves on the first couple launches. And then everything else is not almost pure profit. And because you're paying everybody to be there anyway, you might as well. I don't know. It's just he is the Leonardo da Vinci. I think he is Nikola Tesla slash.
Well,
Edison.
I'm gonna push back just a little bit because I tell you what, I love me some Elon. I surely do. He is not, and in exactly what that is. And let me look at it, and then you exactly what that is. And let me look at it, and then you tell me what you know about it, and then we'll engage. That's how you get to not only innovation, not just innovation, getting things done, but the innovation comes on thinking over and around whatever that is that you've come up with. And the boring, the satellite, the Starlink, Neuralink, Tesla, all of it all he's done is taken shit that was already there and figured out a better way to do it. He goes to X and cuts 80% of the fucking place, and it gets more features and works better. I wonder if you can apply that kind of model anywhere else that might need a model applied to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of his supercomputers had been working on that since he aligned with Trump. And Trump agreed that he should do it because he said on day one, there's at least 2 trillion, I know off the top of my head, that would be gone.
The waste and the corruption and the clog and the crap that's in the systems across the board is at least half, in my opinion, half of the bureaucracy and the cost and the bullshit. You could easily remove half of everything and it would work much better by knocking a third of it out instantly at least. And you do that for 10 years.
I had read a long time ago that there was an executive order that allowed federal employees to unionize. If an EO allowed them to unionize, then an EO would be legal for them to eliminate it.
So what do you mean eliminated?
It's a department that's no longer needed, no longer in existence.
Oh, yeah, the department. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about some aspect.
There'll be a lot of rats jumping off the ship before the Avengers get in there to clean them out. They'll be scurrying all over.
They can, they know where they're at. There's a lot of them. Is there any? I haven't listened to any of the news, or even had a chance to read any of it because I've been working on my cleaning all the photos up. And I heard somewhere along the line that the Obamas had left in the middle of the night on a private jet somewhere. And it was outside the continental United States.
If there is any validity to them, is going to pop out here shortly. Because did you notice one of the things in that piece that I played of Trump? He said Congress needs to say now, preserve all your records. Don't be chucking stuff that's fucked up their minds. We have to realize that they're going to need help. It's just like that one of the pieces I pulled up. The coming mental meltdown we're already seeing it in spades, and it's just gotten started. So
wait till the new Air Force One comes out just in time for Trump to start riding on it, which he put in development while he was in office the first time, but it wasn't going to take effect till this term.
And wait until Elon gets in there and tricks it out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do any of you see the recording time in the studio?
I don't.
I don't either.
So
I know we started just around 20 after or 10:30 my time, Central Time, and it's
you're looking at just the 30.
2:06 now.
Yeah, I think we're creeping right up to that 4-hour limit. We should probably go ahead and call this geezer gloat a wrap. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. That is special.
Yeah.
When you look ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely a new energy to America right now. And it's not just being felt in America, it's being felt all over the world.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. 3:37. Yeah, we got to wrap it up here before we get just clipped by last 16 years. I got a whole beef about all that stuff, which is a whole nother rant. But we are now clearly there was a giant This was a giant U in the fuck you of the energy shift. It just made a huge U-turn.
Now don't be hurting people's feelings.
Well, you know, there's a point of there's a point of empathy, and then there's a point of just no.
Don't give a shit.
You know, no is a complete sentence.
Or get off the lawn.
It's not that I don't care. I just choose not to participate.
Well, the thing is that I think that where the line is difficult to deal with because it has to be at the moment. But there are people that are genuinely screwed up with this, and they don't realize it. And you have to be, you have to be aware of that, and you have to determine what's your level of empathy about that situation. Is it your place to even help them pull cranium out of anus?
You always have a shitty outlook even after that.
So there is that level of and consideration that I think needs to be afoot and a play constantly. But there's more just, I mean, a lot of it, the shock treatment shit, which I think is what happened Tuesday night. It was a cosmic bitch slap to those that thought one thing and didn't realize how wrong they were. And they're suffering from the mental fellow carbon unit from the dark side to the fellow carbon unit from the dark side to the dork side, because we have pie and Twinkies.
And really good weed.
And good weed, yes.
Yes. So is that for the evening?
That's a wrap.
I think
What's-
I've
what's
had
on-
enough,
what-
and I think whoever has been ever paying attention to us has had enough, and I know I've certainly had enough of you three.
Oh my. That's why we kicked you off earlier.
Yeah, I saw that. I figured that's what there's like. We need a break. Kick him out of here for a minute.
Fuckers.
Fuckers. Well,
Gentlemen.
gentlemen, here's to the future. It's a glorious start. I'm glad and proud to be experiencing it with you, and I look forward to this new future, this new thing that's about to unfold, because it's happening quicker than we thought. But it is what we thought.
We will actually have something truly remarkable to celebrate this New Year's.
I think the holidays are going to be lit.
Absolutely.
I think Santa even might hit a bowl.
I guess he's talked
Oh.
to Putin. I guess he's talked to Putin.
Yeah, already.
He's had every major world leader already contact him.
He's already running the joint. And this goes back to that point in the Asian cultures, the kind of become king, to leave king, come back king model is called the mandate of heaven. And it's not necessarily an ordination or that kind of thing, but it's the person is in the right place at the time that they're supposed to be. And that goes back to the refounders with the team that's around them. I think not only do Americans feel better and safer about the future, I think the world feels better and safer about the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we're feeling. And that's kind of fucking awesome. And how cool is it to be here at this time to get a little of that, which is a fuck of a lot different than all of the other we've had for too long.
I'm not sure what Jim's doing. What are you doing? You sound like you're doing the dishes.
I'm
Yes,
putting
what are you
I'm
doing?
putting I'm putting my weed away.
Putting his stash away.
We're going to have to get you a geezer grinder.
Well, I got a pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good weed.
I can hide my weed in there, man.
It's, yeah, I can remember we'd seen it beforehand and laughed my ass off. Then I go to Patrick Air Force Base on annual training. We're at the movie theater on base. My commander is sitting, I didn't realize, right behind us. And of course, I knew every punchline. So just before things started going, we're stoned. We're just absolutely just blitzed. We had a smoke ready to happen. And he said we had seen it before, but it's a fun enough movie that we want to see it again. But we were so wasted.
We just got cut off.
He never had a clue. He just thought we were just fans of Cheech and Chong. But,
Well, I have been a fan of the mother herb of the planet, of the cosmos. I think that both here, I'll leave us all with this. I think that the universe guides and provides, that its ontological meaning is all from consciousness. And the things that make the materium that we inhabit work and exist in us to experience all come from that consciousness. I think that materium has proclivities to make sure that whatever it manifests has a good time, that it flourishes, that it works well. I think that cannabis is one of the components of the consciousness put into the materium so we would have a clue about how to do this experience. In addition to that, I think that the blockchain model is a gift from the cosmos as well. The conscious model of the way in which data structure works and functions within the cosmos is not the Pythagoreans or the Platonians or in the Leibniz, Newton, or any of the calculus or that. It is simply an order. And that order is, and you are here, yeah. And you are here, yeah.
hey, I gotta go.
And you are here, yeah.
Hey, I gotta go. As usual, I had a wonderful evening. I love my Saturday nights. I look forward to it. And you guys take care of yourself. Stay healthy. And let's just think of a bright future for all of us.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next week.